We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again, you gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Buffalo Bills training camp got underway today at St. John Fisher University, and before the players hit the practice field today, head coach Sean McDermott gave a bit of an injury update. 4 players missed practice today.
These 4 will not practice. Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Laviska Chenault with a lower leg strain.
While not mentioned in that report, it should be noted running back James Cook did practice in full today. He is, of course, looking for a new contract, but it appears no hold-in situation there. We also heard from general manager Brandon Beane. He spoke after practice, and if you missed that, you can listen on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. And speaking of our website, if you missed anything from day one of camp, Sal Capancho and Paul Hamilton have you covered with their thoughts on day number 1. And do stay tuned. Sal will join the show at 4 o'clock. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Some other notes in the NFL. The Giants have named Russell Wilson as the team's starting quarterback as they enter camp, and the Texans have placed running back Joe Mixon on the non-football injury list. While in baseball, we do got some early afternoon action. The Mets lead the Angels 6-2 in the 7th. Then at 7 o'clock, the Jays host the Yankees, while the Bisons are on the road versus Columbus. And that Bisons game you can listen to on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Monday, Tuesday, hump day is halfway.
It's Mike Schopp.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
On WGR
Hump Day!
Sports Radio 550.
One of the first lessons I was ever taught in radio was Beth Adams telling me, because she was for many years on the morning show in Rochester, and I jumped into that show, for a couple of years to begin my career. And I don't know if I said something or what brought this on, but she's like, never say you're tired. So anyway, raise your hand.
How strong you chastised me? You smacked me. There was a day a few weeks ago where the first thing I said was, "I'm exhausted,"
and I said, "You should never say that."
Never say that. And Beth Adams, I don't know if you mentioned Beth Adams, but you don't
need my help.
You definitely smacked me for that.
You don't need my help, but because I'm about to say, like, raise your hand if you're in this room and you were up at 2 a.m. Right here. Hi. I was up at 2 a.m.
I was not up at 2 a.m., but I did not get a good night's sleep. I don't know why. I turned in early. I knew I was getting up early to play golf, and I just couldn't shut it down. I was just flipping around in bed for hours.
You probably had some Diamondbacks home run parlay or something.
No, I had nothing going on. The Yankee game was good, so I hung with that for a bit, and I watched that in bed, and that kept me awake for a bit, I guess. But anyway,
I had a 10 o'clock draft. Then I jumped on the stream last night to discuss the draft because of my vanity.
That'll go a while.
I was liking it. That went a few minutes. And then when the draft was over, I watched the entire stream of theirs back. So it was like one, and the dog's up and Foxy, throw Foxy. Like now it's belly rubs and it's 1:30.
Yeah.
And I probably should call it here, but I was into it.
Don't really call for school, though. It's summer, so
I know.
You can get away with that.
I guess I did, but you can't do that all the time.
Yeah.
You know who else was up at 2? Well, you were not up at 2 a.m. Sammy P. was up at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah? What do you know?
I watched 2 hours of Bet Sweats today. And he talked about how, I don't remember why, but yeah, it was like DoorDash Burger King at 2 a.m.
Oh, God.
And he's on, when are they on the air? Like 7.
Right? I don't know. Yeah, 7 there. Chicago, yeah, right. It's 9 to noon or something, is that?
Or he's in Boston, isn't
Eastern?
he? He's in Boston.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He's from Chicago, maybe, but he's in Boston.
Whatever. That's a
DoorDash Burger King at 2 a.m.
Being up at 2 a.m. is bad. Burger King, I don't know, man. That's some bad idea genes right there is what that is.
You got to be in a big enough city for Burger King to be open at 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What kind of food options do we have on those sorts of apps at 2 a.m.?
A couple of pizza. I know there's
a pizza place that I follow on Facebook that is like late night, but I think you got to go get it. I don't know, maybe not. I think they do offer anyway. But there's one pizza place that I know. If I'm ever up at 2 a.m, I know where to go.
Here's the short story. This is the whole story, as far as I know, too. They were talking about Christopher Sanchez, the Phillies pitcher, and Joe O was like pimping Sanchez as a Cy Young bet or something, and he was pitching against Boston. And Sam was saying on their show today how the Red Sox are the one team he can't watch from home.
From Boston.
Right. That's blacked out. He doesn't pay for Nesson. Like, that's the one team he has to go out. But he did. He wanted to see Sanchez. You got to love this about Sam. So, this we were younger once. You go out to watch the game, like on a Tuesday night.
Right.
And Sanchez was great. And I don't know, he said he got home. He couldn't drive a car at that point. He was hungry, and he called DoorDash for Burger King at 2. And I told him, I was listening. I was up.
Have yourself a night, Sam.
You should have been looking at my draft. I could have used your thoughts. So, did the Bills get DoorDash at Fisher? Is that something that's banned, or is that allowed?
I can't imagine it's banned. I can't imagine it's banned. No,
nothing's banned.
Nothing's banned. So you probably can get your feedback on like that from the dorms. I would think
midnight tonight there'll be like 5 drivers in that Dorsey Hall parking lot. Who have you got? Can't name names. I have no idea. Like who's up for that?
Right.
But camp is open. James Cook. Do we owe him a check?
Yes, we do. I mean. Yes, at least I want. I don't know. We owe him
charity,
but
what's his charity?
I feel like I want to certainly give him a lot of credit for. I landed. I think the other day, was it yesterday or Monday? I don't remember. On this, like maybe he'll use Hard Knocks as like his opportunity to make a stand, right? Like that's going to be on TV, and like this is maybe your last and only chance. And nope, just out there practicing. It's fully. So. Yeah, I mean, that whole thing has turned into mostly a nothing burger.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if it turned. I mean, the only turn for it to make now would be for them to get a contract done, which you've been much more optimistic about than me. I've not ruled it out entirely, but I'm certainly far from optimistic that was going to happen. But that's the only development left in the story. I think he's there, he's working. It's not often you see guys walk out or start holding in once they're there and participating. It probably has happened. Someone out there might be able to remember a specific scenario of a team that they follow or whatever, where a guy showed up, was hoping that might generate contract talks. It doesn't. Then he gets frustrated and bails. But I don't know. I don't feel there's any sign of that. I feel like this guy's a good teammate and wants to do the work and honor the contract. I'm sure he's disappointed he didn't get an extension like all of his other 3-year eligible teammates who got contract extensions this offseason. So credit to him for showing up and doing the work. I want to at least say that. I don't know if I want to apologize for talking about it. It is pro football, and guys do. There is drama sometimes, but Cook has avoided it.
Was it not reasonable to have all those conversations?
No, that's why I say I don't want to apologize for it, but I want to give him credit for showing up.
Yeah, I would definitely not want to apologize for it, because I think what he did was cause for the speculation that I don't know. I mean, I don't disagree exactly with any of that, But what was the point? Like, if it's over, was it just for fun? Was it a bit? Was James Cook $15 million, eyeball emojis? Like, was it a bit that he was just, like, pretending to want that money? He didn't, to this point, maybe it is over. He didn't make one serious move toward, getting that for himself. It was just like, okay, I guess I lost. I don't know. I said last week I thought it would be really weak for him to just walk in the door today, because what was it all about? If it was all a joke, tell us. But I don't know. I don't want to give him credit for that. That's not funny, right? I mean, that's not funny.
I wouldn't ever myself want to assert, and not that you're asserting, I don't think it's a joke. I think he was eligible for an extension. He threw a figure out there. The Bills said no, and he folded.
Did the Bills just slam the door on his face, maybe? Because there isn't even like what I thought would happen the whole time is that there would be, I still am not close to this, that there would be a compromise deal, because I thought both sides would want it. I thought Cook would, because I still don't think he'll have any kind of year this year that would take him to free agency and he would hit the grand slam. I still don't really think that that's out there for him. So I think if I'm right about that, it makes sense to me to think he would want something in the middle. And I would think, too, the Bills would want to give him something in the middle, because they do that for everybody, and he's not irrelevant on the team. So, yes, he's a running back, but they would want to do some sort of a compromise deal. And what are you supposed to think here? That they were just, like, never open to anything? And because of that, Cook just felt like he had no hand to play. So he's like, I guess I better be there for the first minute of training camp. I also want to say it was interesting. The first I heard, yesterday there was a report that he was in. And it still might have meant that he would be in, but not practice, because you see that. The first I heard today that he would be on the field was everybody you follow tweets the same quotes. And McDermott saying something about how I looked him in the eyes and I could tell he was ready. And like, was McDermott taking credit for Cook being on the field to practice? Like, you is it a little bit of the more militaristic? You signed a deal. You should be out here. I'm looking you in the eye. Are you here to play? Are you here to mess around? Like, what are we doing? And I don't know. It sounded a little bit to me. It read a little bit to me. I didn't hear it. It read a little bit to me like McDermott was sort of taking credit for Cook being out there, which maybe he should. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't see why a player. Cook had some leverage here. Not all of it, but he had some. I don't see why a player would play this game and then just fold. I played a little bit of poker. The person who does that is a joke. Just, I'm sorry, I guess I have 4-2. Didn't realize it. He didn't have 4-2.
Yeah, I don't want to call him a joke at all. I think that is really strong. I think he's a good teammate. I think he's showing up and he wants to do the work and doesn't want to be a pain in the butt. And I wouldn't either think that the Bills weren't open to doing something, but it must still be at a number that Cook just does not want to agree to. And I don't know, maybe at some point he'll talk. He's not someone who, even when he spoke at minicamp, he didn't really shed a lot of light on his thought process. It was, very kind of matter of fact, short answers mostly. So I don't know that we'll get a long think piece from him. I don't see him sitting down with Tyler Dunn for 2 hours or something and spilling the story. I suppose that could happen. But my guess is the Bills had a number, and Cook is betting on himself. I'm going to play it out, and either you are going to get closer to my number after I do what I did last year again this year, or I'm going to go to free agency, and there'll be one team out there that looks at me, and especially if I'm betting on myself. I'm going to go put up a dozen touchdowns or more again this year off of the 16 from last year, and I'm going to get the money that way. And, the risk in that, of course, is injury. Something happens to him without any guaranteed money. And, maybe there's regret there in the end. If that happens, I would expect that there would be. But I think that's probably the most likely scenario. Now, the Bills to me, if they want to, keep the peace, sort of, the piece is made. Like they don't have to do anything. He's here and he's practicing.
Right.
So you're good. Like that was our offer. Maybe they can move a little on certain things. I don't know, but I think it's probably over.
No, they won, and it didn't even get to August 1st.
Right.
Just like how bad a poker player is this guy? I don't know. I thought this was interesting too today. We'll talk to Sal later. He'll tell us his interpretation of everything that was said. Bean on Cook. You see the word he used? Hopeful. I'm hopeful that Cook will be with us next year. The Bills have control over that. Even if they don't do a new deal with him, they still have his rights. Like, he can still be franchised, and that'll be up to them. What an odd... This has been so strange. Before minicamp or after the draft, Cook comes up and Bean is talking about, we'll get something done next year or whatever. It's like, okay, like he just seemed so almost flippant about it. Felt publicly anyway, no pressure to do anything with him. That's fine. He didn't have to. And, I guess he probably had reason to think that because here's Cook at minicamp and at training camp. Like, he might have thought it was all a big joke. And, they're again today, wouldn't you know it, bingo card, obviously, box checked, how we love Jimbo. Like, of course that has to be said every time. Like, they're just placating him or something. I don't know. I'm hopeful Cook will be with us next year. Well, whose call is that? It's yours. It's just so weird.
Well, you can also hope that he will adjust his ask. If he gets, maybe he doesn't have the smashing year that he is hoping for, right? His bet on himself goes south, much the way this entire episode has sort of gone south from his perspective. He's not getting anything close to what he wanted here. He's getting nothing, really, is what he's got. He's got his original contract, which has been in place for, 3.5 years now. So he's going into the last year of it. If he goes back to James Cook of 2023 and has 2 rushing touchdowns with 1,000 yards, maybe the ask comes down and the Bills go, you know what? Yeah, we can live with 3 years, $30 million or somewhere in that ballpark. And that's a way that they can keep him here. So it requires his ask coming down is what you're hoping for if you're Brandon Beane. I think when he says, I hope he's out there, I think you're hoping that he'll settle for what you think is a fair price.
Well, you're not offering, what? Am I basing this on an assumption that they've made some offer to him this year? Next year, no matter what happens, it has to be lower. He's a year older. Like, that's 4 years in the league. And you're not paying him, you're not making a deal with him next year that's better than you would make with him now unless what happens? The cap goes up all the time, so you could factor that into it.
He smashes another. He has last year again, and you don't look at it as a aberration, right? He went from 2 touchdowns to 16. You do 16 again, or a dozen even, I think, and go, all right, well, that feels more bankable now. Sure. I still wouldn't want to do it myself, by the way. Like, I wouldn't want to get near his price at this point, even with the cap going up. I just don't think it's a good bet with a running back like you're saying. I think the good point to be made there is it's another year down the road, so he's that much closer to the point where you'd have a regret about that contract sooner rather than later. So it's not going to be a good idea, but what could get him closer to his price? A second year that makes last year not look like a one-off.
And really, like, the math just does not have much room for that season. He's had almost the same efficiency other than touchdowns, the same quality, productivity every year except for last year in touchdowns. Does he have to be 2 again? No. Does he have to be 16? Almost definitely not. So somewhere in the middle, but the player is the player. You will say that, maybe he got faster last year or something like that. Maybe the Bills have said that too. But the player is the player. So then I'm a year from now and he's a year older, and I think I'm less inclined than I am now. It's all the more reason to think that now was the time to do it. It's so strange to me that the Bills, if I'm going to keep going with the idea of it being a poker game, I think I want to say they felt so little about their opponent in this game that they're just like, yeah, we don't care. I mean, they didn't say that, but like, oh, okay. Next question. I mean, we'll talk about this next year, or we love Jimbo. And just like, he didn't even take them, he didn't even lead off first base in this thing. And he just was like, you know, made a spectacle of what he wanted, came to minicamp anyway because he didn't want to be fined. Sal told us, am I wrong, that because of where he's at in his contract career, if he had been fined for missing these practices, that could have been rescinded because he was on his rookie deal or something. Like, so sometimes the fines cannot be rescinded, but he was in a spot where he could have, you know, had that. McLaurin, you know, these guys too, they're going to be fined. Hendrickson, they're going to be fined for missing camp, but they could negotiate that into the next contract.
We'll talk to Sal at 4 today. Is that right? Let's clarify that, because I think it might be the opposite of what you just said. I think because he's on a rookie deal, that you can't rescind the fines.
I thought it was.
But if you're more of a veteran player, that then you can work that out. But I'm not positive of that. But I feel like I remember thinking that could be a big factor. I don't think he can get the fines washed away by a new contract because of his status in the league.
Okay. I still think he could, but I might be wrong. Still, I mean, just like what a gamble by Cook. It's laughable. I mean, it's the first day of camp. It's laughable. But, hey, look, you're going to have a lot of company, and I'm not really, again, disagreeing with how it's good for the Bills. I mean, that's what everybody cares about.
That's all I care about. Like, I appreciate your attention to the details of the game that was being played, but I don't really care. I wanted James Cook to play for the Bills on this contract is really my ideal scenario. I really didn't want an extension almost of any kind. Yeah. Because I thought it was going to be at a figure that I would eventually be regretting. So, you know, I like the player, and I admire that he's here, really. So I don't feel let down that he didn't play the game to the fullest extent. I'm kind of relieved because I think he will help them. I don't think he's the most vital guy, but I'd rather have him here than not here and not be a distraction for a team that's trying to finally get, you know, all the way there. So, you know, that's that. I'm at credit to him, and the scenario that is playing out, I think, is best for the team. And I'm all about that more than I am about Cook playing games.
So to whom do we write the check? Is there a charity? Does he need the money because he didn't get more? Do we just make it out to James Cook for the last, 3 months? Really, it's kind of more? 2.5, 3 months? At least since the draft. Since we've had this. It's before that.
Right.
It's at least 3 months since we've been speculating on, like, what he would do. Well, so to this point, the Bills continue their seemingly perfect sheet, their clean sheet of staying out of the ditch when it comes to contracts. I mean, what was the last one? Cook is not going to be the one, so who was it? Poyer
had a bit of a flap near the end.
He did, and he showed up anyway.
Right.
Like, he was somebody that, well, he didn't, it turned out he didn't have a market, right? That was Poyer. Like, right. He wanted to have a market, and he didn't. So he walked back in, tail between his legs like this guy. Just got to give him credit. We're not in the room, needless to say, I hope. I mean, we're not in the room. And the Bills have some touch when it comes to staying away from, big trouble when it comes to contracts.
And that might be to their credit. Like, they've built a thing here that a guy like Cook, and look, every guy's different, but if you're you're choosing the players, so you have some ability to assess their personality or what you think, how they're wired, whatever. You're guessing, but you're making calls. You're choosing guys. You're trusting that this guy will fit in, and this guy fits in well enough that he doesn't want to rock the boat. And that's an accomplishment in pro sports, in any pro sport.
You could tell. We had this yesterday, and what Sal has said about Cook back at minicamp, you can tell by his quotes, by his comments, that he wasn't fully invested in the cause, right? Yesterday, we had a clip from him on a podcast, talking about saying a couple of the things you would say, but then also saying, I don't want to be a cancer. Mm-hmm. You could tell, I think, by his comments, he was never the one at minicamp. He's doing it with the Bills and their sponsors' logos behind them, so that's another thing. You could tell, I just feel like you could tell maybe he wasn't fully invested in it, which, okay, that's his choice. 803-0550. James Cook is in. They're all in. Get a couple of guys on PUP. The Knox thing. Hamstring.
Right.
Injured, working out.
It is a back flare-up for Spencer Brown. I speculated yesterday, like he's had back stuff, and like it always can worry you when you hear something about that guy, and it turns out it is that, but nobody sounds alarmed about it. Nobody's talking like it's going to be a problem, moving forward. They're just being, careful, first day of camp, all that sort of stuff.
What's your perspective on what did or didn't happen with Cook? Anything else from day one of training camp at St. John Fisher? 803-0550. Sal Capaccio at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Bulldog here for Window Nation. If you've been trying to stay cool during these hot summer days, but your windows are old or drafty.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, I'm right. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Oh
James is a competitive dude. He's a stud. He's a great teammate. He wants to be here. He loves ball. Of course, who doesn't want to get paid? And that's the hard part of this job is I do want to pay them all, especially the ones that you're working hard, they're producing on the field, their teammates love them, the fans love them. Like, James fits Buffalo, but sometimes you can't get on the same page, or sometimes you're trying to fit it in, or, there's times guys have left here that we really wanted. We just couldn't make it work. But I can tell you, I'm hopeful when we're sitting here at next year's training camp that James Cook is out there practicing, still representing the red, white, and blue.
Brandon Beane today. Hopeful. I guess this is where we all go, so are we? Right? Or just
I don't know. I would not classify myself as hopeful, because that would mean an extension is in place or that they put the franchise tag on him, and I've never been nuts about that. I like the idea of just sort of assembly lining running backs on their rookie contracts and just sending them on their way.
So I don't need to do this all day, but what does Beane mean by hopeful?
That Cook will come down to their price, I think is what he means. I mean, that's my best guess. Because they are, they could just agree to pay him whatever he wants, and then they're take hope out of the equation. Oh, here, we want you to be happy. We want everyone to be happy. Here you go.
So there is a deal available to him.
To Cook?
Yes.
Oh, I think there's always been a deal available to him.
Me too.
I would be very surprised. I mean, you said at one point in that opening segment, questioning whether the Bills ever even made him an offer, I think, or something. And I'd be stunned if they didn't make him an offer. He's been a good player for them, and had a great season last year with all those touchdowns. So, sure, I think you'd like to keep that going, especially considering the window that they're in here, trying to win the Super Bowl for real, not just a pipe dream. But I think the hope is that he realizes, maybe it's even a situation, you mentioned Poyer. That's the last sort of turbulence there really was contract-wise, and that was, I don't know, it depends on how nervous a flyer you are, but it wasn't really the kind of turbulence that you would ever get really scared about. He's going to go see what's out there, and if he doesn't find what he's looking for, he can always come back. You can hope for that, too, if you're Brandon Beane, that Cook has a very good year, maybe even the same, a similar enough year to last year. They don't put the tag on him. He hits the market, goes out there, and sees that what he's being offered isn't that different from what the Bills are willing to do, and comes back and says, all right, I'll just stay here for whatever.
Well, I've been trying pretty hard to make sense of the whole thing, not make sense of, but try to nail down what is really going on. And I think after today, it's that. It's, we're hopeful he's here next year. I think your answer is the right answer, that he will come over to what we're offering, or at least close enough where we can do this. And that's been one of several possibilities here this offseason, is that, we're talking about him a lot, and, what does $10 million really sound like? Okay, 15. What does $10 million a year really sound like? And one possibility has always been that he wouldn't listen to that. That
right.
what you or I might think is a reasonable offer, to him would not be. And if it's so far apart, what does he think he's going to accomplish by staying away if it's so far apart? So, I still think it's probable here that he just gave up on whatever it was that he thought he might be able to get done. But it could be that we're hopeful, the way you read it, he comes to a number we could live with by next year, and we don't have to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
And so if his $15 million was just that's it. And he was never going to get away with staying there and not playing.
Yep. It's also possible that the Bills have had whatever their... This would really surprise me, but I guess it's worth saying. We're trying to get our heads around what has gone on here, and what are the two sides trying to get accomplished here. It's possible that the Bills have had whatever their offer was, whatever their ceiling was, but in reality, they knew, we could go another $1 million a year, or we could guarantee another $5 million, or whatever. Pick figures. All right, nothing outrageous. But he shows up, and he's going to do the work, and he's a good teammate, and everything being said. A part of being hopeful is maybe when Bean says, I'm hopeful he's here next year, that I'm going to talk to his agent tonight, even. And, we've been offering 10, we'll offer 11. I have no idea if that's the ball. I would assume that that's the ballpark. He was making 5 as it is. He said he wanted 15. I mean, to be offering him 7 or something would be like absurd. I don't even know why. That's a situation where if that's all you're prepared to offer, don't even bother, I would say. But, I don't have to be right about that. But maybe there's, you've done right here. You've shown up, and we appreciate that. And now that you've done that, here's a nudge. And does that get cooked to go, bird in the hand. There's a bunch of guaranteed money here. I'm about to go play 17 or 20 football games, and anything could happen. And if you're guaranteeing me, I don't know, $20 million out of a $30 million contract, maybe I just take that because that's 4 times what I'm prepared to be paid guaranteed this year.
I wonder if it's fair to say that this is common, I would say, so it's not so much a criticism, but if his evaluation of himself is significantly greater than the league's evaluation of him, because wasn't that the Dalvin Cook experience? That when we started to hear about Dalvin Cook, his brother, looking for a big contract, he was kind of shot. Like it was almost already over for him. And it was kind of a joke, again, that he was asking for the kind of money he was, and the league was just like not interested at all. He goes to the Jets. He goes to Baltimore even at the end and just plays for – the Jets gave him some okay money at least, or good.
Yeah.
But not anything, huge.
Not top of the market by far.
Yeah, no. Like and who knows how they really think, but it's the way I remember that was like, who does this guy think he is? I mean, he's not Barkley, and neither is James Cook Barkley. They're not.
Right.
But I guess it's tough for me. I want to make sure it's understood. Like, I'm disappointed that we're here, not because it's bad for the Bills. It's great for the Bills. It's perfect. I mean, they really didn't have to pay him 50 cents, apparently, more than he was making to this point. But I just don't really understand a guy who makes somewhat of an ordeal publicly about how he's underpaid, and then he's like, don't worry about it. That's just, to me, I was asking the other day and to you this week, like, what would you do if you were Cook? What you wouldn't do, I think, is the first part.
The calling attention to it in the first place, right?
Yeah, like,
right.
You wouldn't do that. I mean, far be it from me or you to even understand, like, sort of what his thinking is. But what you wouldn't do is stick your foot in the door and be like, I want $15 million a year. You could want it, but you would keep that private, or you wouldn't.
Right.
You just wouldn't make it a thing so that guys like us would have it to talk about.
If you're so easily prepared to walk away from the idea, right?
Yeah,
just
show kidding.
Up. Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
So it's great for them. I'm not disappointed for them. It's perfect for them. That was the best case scenario if he just sort of like, whatever. But it's just like, don't give me the idea that you're serious and then not be serious. That's kind of a thing in life. Don't do that. That's how I mean what I'm disappointed about. Just like, come on, buddy. No wonder they love him. Right. What a sweetheart.
Right.
I mean, he can tweet all he wants. He's going to play for the contract he's got, apparently. 803-0550 is the number. Into the 90s tomorrow for day 2 of training camp.
Yeah.
Not 100.
No.
It sounds like the feels like could get near 100.
When I had this bet with Sneaky Joe a few years ago,
which has been erased.
I think we got near 100 real feel, but, it was decided that that doesn't count any more than showing me the temperature gauge in your vehicle when you get in it.
Right, when you turn it on.
And it says 100 because it's been baking. Like my truck today, when I walk out there, might say 100 when I turn it on, or 99, but it's not going to be actually 99 degrees out. It's just baking in the sun all afternoon. Real feel. But, yeah, I'm not planning on playing golf tomorrow morning. I'll tell you that. I don't want any part of that heat.
That's the time to play, though.
Well, it's still today. Even was hot, like right away, like flop sweat, right on the first green. I'm like, putting. My glasses are sweaty. It's really hot. And tomorrow's gonna be worse. So I want no part of that. At least when I'm golfing, I'll go out and I'll go ride my bike tomorrow because I don't mind if I'm in an activity where I'm working and that's the idea. I don't mind being hot. Like I'll be hydrated. I'll take care. I'm fine. But to go out and play golf or do yard work in that heat, no thanks.
If you want to see the Bills in the sun, get to training camp because if you didn't know, you probably did. They have 1 o'clock Sunday home game until November 16th. The Saints game, and that's week 4. Right, which could be a hot day, late September, early October.
Yep.
But 3 of the first 4 home games are night games. Then you have eventually Kansas City. Kansas City, it's going to feel early, I think, that Chief game. Week 9, is it?
Yep.
And that's a 4:25 game. We're into early November, I believe, at that point. And then it's not until week 11 against the Bucs when they are home, and there's the throwback uniform for that game. Hopefully Tampa Bay is allowed to wear theirs. 1 o'clock Sunday. Only 2 for sure. Week 18 against the Jets could be the 3rd. And, things could go sideways and some other game gets flexed back to 1 o'clock. But very interesting schedule for that. If you like seeing them under the sun, get to Rochester. Or the Saints game, I guess it is. Or the one preseason home game. That's an afternoon game, August 9th. The Bills sadly did not qualify for one of Cleveland's, quote, alpha dog games.
What's that now?
The Browns have an alternate helmet themselves.
Oh, okay, that's what those uniforms are. Those are alpha dog
Alpha
uniforms.
dog. The Browns have 3 games. The Falcons have 3 games. The Bills are one of them.
There was... I was pretty sure I wasn't falling for some sort of a hoax a bit on social media, but the whole thing today, I didn't see until you showed me when I got here the video of the raft they had out on the lake with the helmet unveiling and personnel falling off of the raft.
It's funny.
Whatever, yeah. But
hopefully he didn't drown.
The first picture I saw of the helmet was just the helmet, and I thought it looked black. And I thought, is this one of these, what color is the dress from, I don't know how many years ago that was, where people were arguing about whether the dress was blue or green or whatever. I don't remember the colors now, but I think you might remember what I'm talking about. That looks black. And I saw another picture of it. It looked black. And I saw Myles Garrett, full dude, like, oh, okay, it's brown. And then I saw the sponsor was Dude Wipes. And I thought, is this whole thing a joke? Like the Browns have a brown-colored uniform sponsored by Dude Wipes. The whole thing is a joke? No? Okay, it's not? All right.
They lift the tarp over the helmet on this raft in the lake, and somebody is maybe shooting it or just standing there, and they fall into the lake. And then there are 1 or 2 characters, like one's got a mascot head, one's got giant sunglasses. I don't know what's a joke and what isn't. And they sort of walk over to the guy who's fallen off the raft, and there's the helmet, but nobody's looking at the helmet because they want to know what happened to this guy. And the guy with the dog mascot head, just flips a tiny life raft into the lake. And sadly, that's all I saw. But what a disaster.
I assume everyone was okay.
What a franchise.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just good idea, I guess, but the guy falls into the water. Don't you know to sort of move in a little bit if you have to?
I don't know.
Don't stand right on the corner of the raft as it's tipping.
Yeah, the whole thing seems like
you.
it could have gone better. Yeah,
it could have gone better. I would say that's safe to say. It could have gone better. That's fair. Sal at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
Folks, Bulldog here. Let's talk about something important. Your
Sports. It's Mike Schopp.
He's Bulldog, talking sports. Call him on the telephone. Toss that bad Bulldog a bone. Bulldog, talking sports. Yeah.
On WGR.
all right, heave and ho, and away we go.
Sports Radio 550.
I don't want to hear me from 30 years ago. Thank you very much.
Of Bills training camp. Sal Capaccio will join us in about 11 minutes. Count it down.
Let's put a little countdown clock on the.
Do we have that
on the YouTube and the Twitch?
Hold me to it. Here's Mark with us. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, hi. Calling from Toronto area. Who decides when the Bills get the games in the afternoons or what, or when? The reason why I'm asking this, guys, Kelly section. You guys have a game on a Thursday night or a Friday night game. I got to take a half day off work to come down there to watch the game, and I don't get home till 2:30 in the morning. Like, I don't mind the Sunday games. I don't mind, but all these late games, I guess the Bills make more money, right? Because of prime time.
Well, it's the league. The Bills are a marquee team in the league, and the marquee teams get the prime time slots. It's good for the team, certainly. That exposure is good for the team. But yeah, I mean, it's always been inconvenient. There was a time where the Bills discouraged the league from giving them night games because they felt their fans were too inconvenienced by it. But that horse is way out of the barn now.
I know it's nightmare. I'm a loyal fan, but when I got to take a half day off work every time to go to a game, and then it disrupts you. It's just difficult to drive home at 2:30 in the morning, and you got to work next day. That's all. Okay, that's what it is. Then that's what it is. Fair enough.
Yeah, I was going to say just welcome to the NFL, but
right.
Also want to say if you were up last night at that time because we were. I wasn't driving.
Some of
thank
us were.
goodness, but I was up. Neither was Sam. But yeah, some of us were up at 2:30 in the morning. It was like these late night drafts are like games where you've got results. It's like people who are junkies for election night. You can't. How do you go to sleep after that? You just want to keep. I'm a numbers guy. I want to keep looking at the grid. I want to keep thinking about the numbers. I want to do lineups. I want to do points. I want to know who's playing next. I do not turn it off.
This all sounds very healthy.
No argument. Not a lot of things about who you aren't necessarily healthy, but they are who you are.
Right.
And this is who I am. Like I did not intend to sign up for a 10 o'clock high stakes draft last night, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be one before I was even close to being ready for bed. I knew it was going to be one.
The number of Mondays in my life that I've thought, this weekend I'm not gonna do as much of that. I'm just not. This doesn't feel great. I'm fine, but I don't feel as good as I could feel. So I'm gonna ease back, and then it's Friday at 7 o'clock. I'm like, let's go,
Viking.
Come on! It's been like 40 years of this, dude. Get it together.
That's you or me you're talking
That's
to.
That's me. I'm talking about myself here. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to really enjoy the NFL without that. I like the drafting to enjoy the NFL. Obviously the move is to cut off the drafting and then enjoy the league more casually and go to bed at a reasonable time and don't watch Tennessee Atlanta. Necessarily. You don't have to watch Tennessee Atlanta. Mark doesn't have to go to that Bills game.
No, he doesn't have to, but
that's what you could easily say that to Mark. You don't have to go.
I guess from the way he sounds that he's a season ticket holder and just, wants to go, enjoys going, but it's, there's a balance. Yeah.
If only there were ways to move tickets. Sal coming up at 4 here on WGR. Summer celebration.
Bills training camp got underway today from St. John Fisher. Day one is in the books. Few players, though, did miss practice today. Sean McDermott earlier today with the update.
These four will not practice. Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Laviska Chenault with a lower leg strain.
Not listed there, not dealing with an injury, but running back James Cook also practiced today in full. No holdout situation as he looks for a new contract. We also heard from General Manager Brandon Beane. He spoke today following practice. If you missed that, you can listen on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Stay tuned, though. Sal Capaccio will join the show next for more on day one from Bills training camp. And coverage of training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Arizona rookie Walter Nolan expected to miss time. He picked up a calf injury while getting ready for camp. That according to head coach Jonathan Gannon. And the Texans have placed running back Joe Mixon on the non-football injury list. While in baseball, the Mets take down the Angels 6-3. And then 2 games at 7, the Jays host the Yankees. And the Bisons are on the road versus Columbus. The Bisons game you can listen to on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
There are different ways, aren't there, that sort of splash water in your face that football is back? One I just had, listening to Sean McDermott read down injuries. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's specific now.
Here we are, right?
It's not a game week or anything, but, you know, his voice and here are the players who are hurt, and here's what we're going to tell you about what's bothering them. I wasn't all the way ready for that. I have known today was coming for a long time, but I wasn't all the way ready for McDermott's voice breaking down injuries. But of course, he would be doing that. Training camp coverage on WGR continues. Here is Sal Capaccio with us on the Wester Hotline. Sal, I mean, I think probably for the most part, this is a joyous day for you and for the for the fans.
Yeah, I think so. When you cover football for a living, to me, I've always looked at my job as a privilege. It's not a job. It's not work. When you get a chance to do something like this, you love it. So from that standpoint, it's a joyous day to be able to do something you love and get paid for it, no doubt about it. It also represents a big shift in everybody's life, who does this for a living. This is something now that we're a part of every day for the next several months. And out here at St. John Fisher, there's a lot of work to be done, and starts early in the morning. I mean, get on the radio at 7. You have a press conference at 9:15, practice at 9:45. After that, I just recorded a podcast with Matt Bove before I came on with you guys. Got an article to write, got more stuff to do tonight. So that's not complaining, just it's a lot, right, to take in. And you just kind of have to keep everything where it needs to be, so to speak. That being said, fans coming out from their perspective, a great chance for them to see their Buffalo Bills again, right? I mean, it's been a long time, and I think every season brings new hope. It doesn't matter if it's 2013 with E.J. Manuel and a team that, hasn't made the playoffs at that point in 13 years, or it's 2017 with Sean McDermott coming in, everybody thinking that they're going to be the worst team in the league with some of the moves they made, or right now with the league MVP. I think that, fans love seeing their Buffalo Bills, and this has been a great partnership here at St. John Fisher for a quarter of a century now, and so much so, it is very, very hard to get a ticket right now, guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the next thing I was going to bring up is I can remember feeling as though we needed to get, I think the Bills wanted us to help get here's what it's the Verizon store, or it's Wegmans, or whatever the outlet would have been.
Yep.
And, here's the process. And, those tickets were available. Now, I don't think not one time, I know for myself, I won't speak for the entire show, I've had some time off, but that doesn't even come up as something. The Bills don't need our help. The tickets just disappear. Like as soon as they're available, they're gone. It's crazy, and I don't want to take it for granted. But I mean, it hasn't been like that for that long. But it's pretty regular now that it just runs itself, kind of.
Yeah, and not only that, Bulldog, even to go even further, I mean, people get upset because they can't get tickets. They try and they just can't get tickets anywhere. I get people asking me all the time, like, can you get tickets to camp? How do you get tickets to camp? Can you help me get tickets to camp? No, it's tough, right? I know a lot of people personally, family members, they can't get tickets to camp. Some people got lucky. They're here. I saw a lot of people I've seen in years past, and whether that's fans or people with corporate partnerships or something like that. So it definitely is, but it is also a team that now is, they have the league MVP. They've been very, very good, obviously, for a while, and expectations, again, coming into 2025 are really high. And, to get to a Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl, that's where we've landed, and that's where we remain as this team, arrives at St. John Fisher today.
James Cook did not need a ticket. If he did, he got one on the field. What's your analysis from what was said today and what you saw, how this has played out?
We said, and I said with you guys for a while, it either becomes a really big story or becomes no story at all. It's one day of talking about it today. I think after today, I don't know how much we talk about James Cook's contract, to be quite honest. I think the only two ways we talk about it are, A, if he gets hurt, unfortunately, because then it becomes a story of, hey, here's a guy that this is why he wanted to get paid, and now look at him because he has an injury. Or B, just kind of during the season at some point, he has a monster game, or just kind of you look at his usage, and we're going to say, oh, James Cook's somebody at the end of the year whose contract's expiring. What are they going to do with him? The other side, though, would have been very, very noteworthy for quite a while. If he had showed up and not done anything and done the hold in, then I think we'd be talking about that now a lot, and it would be something we'd be monitoring every single day. I think because he showed up, because he practiced, because of the messaging that came from Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, about how good of a teammate he is, how much he wants to be here with his guys and be on the field, I think everything just kind of goes away from the contractual standpoint right now until something else happens to bring it up.
Right. And I wonder, Sal, you and I think, have been pretty aligned on this, like not being optimistic that they were going to get something done here during this offseason. But now that we're in camp, I wonder if the Bills, like I assume they had a number, they had some offer for him that didn't meet what Cook was looking for, and so no deal was made. I wonder if all along they've had like an extra, one last try, here's an extra couple whatever, guaranteed monies or whatever it is. Now that he showed up and has been such a, he's not been a disturbance at all. I mean, the only disturbances have been on social media. Like to the team, he's been at everything he was supposed to be at, and he's participated. So I wonder if there's one last, like, well, we were willing to go to, I'll pick a number, 10. Here's 11.5 or 12, or we're willing to give you 17 million guaranteed. Here's 22. It's just something to try to bridge the gap between what he might have been looking for and what their number was. Like I wonder if they've always had like a second ceiling, so to speak, for a moment like this.
You never know. They don't obviously tell us those things, but I wouldn't be surprised, right, if there was something like that going on. So when Brandon Beane sat down today, like I happened to shoot off the first question to him, and I hope it was a solid question because my fear is we ask a bad question, it's on Hard Knocks, to be quite honest with you. Like I think about that now.
You're gonna be on point.
Like, oh my God, like, I asked a bad question, and all of a sudden now I'm a meme on Hard Knocks. So no, but I asked him to take us through like what's been the dialogue, what's been the history between the James Cook's representatives and you up until now, and. He said they have a good relationship, maybe a great relationship, whatever, especially with James. He's kept an open dialogue with his representatives, and he said he'll continue to keep an open dialogue with his representatives, right? Which is to say nothing's closed off. You never know. Maybe something happens here at camp. Maybe something happens during the season. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think just based on what we've heard from James Cook and seen on social media, what we know about kind of how the Bills feel about that position and their allocation of resources, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. So that gets me to, okay, James Cook is here. He's practicing. He squawked on social media about, what he wanted. But at the end of the day, like, did he have to do that then? Like, why did he do that? Because it almost seems I have it in my head, the way he looked and the way he sounded at minicamp when he was asked about it. this is me giving commentary on this. I don't know. He didn't say this, but it almost felt like regret. You know what I mean? It almost, to me, I felt like he almost regretted putting that out there. The way he treated it, he almost didn't even acknowledge that he put those numbers out there. Instead of backing it up and saying, yeah, hey, I want to get paid. I'm worth it. He said, I like my money. That's why I'm here. But when he was asked, like, why did you send that message of that money? I don't know. It's just something I did. And if I felt like, okay, well, if that's the case, like, it was kind of, not that it mattered at that time of the offseason, but it became a bit of a distraction, I think, from just everything else. Not that a distraction on the field yet, because they weren't practicing, but you guys know what I mean. Like, it just seems like, okay, what was the purpose for that then?
Again, it's poker. I just won the last hand, and I've got all these chips in front of me, and even though I have 9-3 offsuit, here, let's go. Raise. Oh my God, I have 9-3. Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about my hand. I don't know. It was meaningful to me that you said how you said yesterday you were just a little bit confused or Monday, how he was talking. And we listened to a different clip from him, and he was the same way, I thought. I was confused. Like, he was kind of saying everything. What I deserve, but I don't want to be a cancer. If it's a poker game, the Bills, at least to this point, read him right, because maybe they just didn't take him that seriously as somebody that would stay away. And what happened? He didn't stay away.
Well, listen, I've said this to you guys. I know for sure I said it on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, and I've been right about my conviction on Brandon Beane on this. And you guys know this, and I'm sure you would have said the same thing. You know how Brandon Beane operates. Brandon Beane wasn't about to go to where the numbers we heard James Cook wanted to. Like, once we kind of knew where Brandon Beane stood on it, it wasn't happening. Now, it doesn't mean he can't get something done at a different number, but there was never a chance for me, once we knew kind of what James Cook was putting out there with $15 million, how Brandon Beane talked about pivoting to other guys because, just they couldn't get on the same page. I never saw Brandon Beane caving, so to speak, to anything that James Cook, that type of money.
Beane wouldn't go to $15 million, and Cook wouldn't go to the mattresses on this. Like, everybody's just sort of okay so far. One last thing for me on him, because he's not the only thing going on here, is the word hopeful that Beane used, maybe to your question about Cook being here next year. It's another way of sounding, I think, that makes you think, like, yeah, if he comes over to where we think is a realistic place, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with that. But it's also just that, you have him. You still have levers you can pull to keep him in a Bills uniform next year, right?
Right.
You have a franchise tag.
It's up to them.
A transition tag. Yeah, so Brandon Beane talking like that, I think what he's basically telling you is, he's not going to burn bridges here. He's not going to say something that makes James Cook say, okay, forget it. I want to be in another organization, another team. He's not even telling you he's going to have he's hopefully get a contract extension. He's just like, yeah, he's on our team. We love him, and we hope he's here next year. There's other ways that they can do that.
Right. Most ideally, Cook coming to their number eventually because he realizes that, whatever he was hoping for isn't going to materialize and, bird in the hand. That's why I mentioned, I don't mean to be like trying to play walk both sides of the street here. I've not been optimistic about them getting something done, but I just wonder if at this point, the way Cook has acted, showing up and everything, if whatever amount of guaranteed money that is going to be, maybe 4 times the amount he's going to get paid this year if he just plays out this last year of his contract, might look pretty good at this point, unless he wants to just bet on himself. But, that bet comes with, there's a downside, and that's, what happens if something goes wrong and you're injured and now the whole thing sort of goes up in smoke.
Yeah, and look, as of now, as of today, as of July 23rd, the start of training camp, James Cook is here. He's practicing. I did not see him do anything any differently than he normally would do in any other practice. We'll see if that remains the same. And we go forward here, and he's a guy going into the last year of his contract, just like a guy like Connor McGovern.
Sal, some have asked me to ask you, what was the highlight of the day? The best of training camp, brought to you by Northtown Automotive. Get a Northtown Engine Shield engine protection warranty on new and used vehicles.
Well, the highlight was, you have big picture, small picture, but it's related. The highlight was Max Hairston. He had a really fantastic play that the Bills actually tweeted out a video of, and you guys can watch that. It's a slow motion from the back of the end zone. KJ Hamler is like wide open. He's the only guy in the frame. The ball's coming to him from Mitch Trubisky, and out of nowhere, Max Hairston comes and makes the play on the ball. And I would say that was just representative of the type of day Max Hairston had. He had a really good day out here. And I mean, after OTAs and minicamp and, trying to line up right a few times, having a bit of an uneven, camp, a couple plays here, a couple, times he got beat there. I wasn't that optimistic he'd come here and just kind of get right in and look good with the ones or the twos, and him and Tre'Davious White both doing that. But he did. He had a couple nice plays. That was one of them. And the other that I noted in my story at WGR550.com was there was a throw to Curtis Samuel, and Harrison was like one-on-one on the outside. It was a red zone period. Curtis Samuel caught it just as he's going to the sideline. And if Harrison doesn't get there as quick as he does, he might turn upfield. But because he got there so quick, he just rode him out of bounds. It was a minimal gain. That play, both plays, are just an example of how fast he is and how quick he can get to the football.
We talked about whether there would be Dalton Kincaid observations. Are there any?
Mm-hmm. There are. He had a very nice day today overall. Caught a couple of passes, a couple of touchdowns. I think both from Josh, if I remember correctly. I know at least one. Now, I would say with the caveat, one of them, I'm pretty sure Josh would have been sacked, but they don't do that here at training camp, obviously. So the play stayed alive. So Dalton had another second, catch the ball. He did in the back of the end zone. And on the other one, he worked his way back from the back of the end zone. It was a really nice play by him. Like, he was in the back of the end zone. There were two defenders. He kind of saw Josh back there looking around. So he worked his way back right upfield. Josh kind of put it in a really good spot so that when he came forward, he kind of moved in between the two defenders to get it, and he surprised them. So I like that. Now, as far as him getting bigger, I tried to look at that. It's tough to tell. These guys are,
Right.
these guys are professional athletes. But yeah, I tried to make an observation that I do think his arms and shoulders do look a little bit broader. But I don't know. I'm not sitting there comparing, Zapruder film to, what he was last year.
What about the stuff with the guys who didn't work today? Is there anything? It doesn't sound there's anything to be alarmed about, but I want to just clear that with you.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. I agree, especially considering Sean McDermott and Brandon Beans, one of them, the way they basically phrased it, which is we're going to be overly cautious when it comes to the veterans, Dawson Knox and Spencer Brown, because these guys know what we do, right? They don't have to rush back. You can wait on them. When they're ready, they'll play. They have all the trust in their medical staff. I was a bit concerned when they signed a tight end, Matt Sokol. We were on the air yesterday when you guys and I said, hey, you could have anything happen here at any moment. And sure enough, it did right at that moment. And as at that moment when I was saying, about 24 hours ago, I'd be a little concerned because they signed a tight end, but I think that's because what we learned today, Dawson has a hamstring injury, so you want to make sure you give that some time, right? I mean, it's not worth putting Dawson Knox out there in week 1 of training camp or even week 2 maybe and putting him out there any earlier than it has to be out there. So you got to have guys get some reps so that guys like Dalton Kincaid and Jackson Hawes aren't out there taking every single rep, and you have to have a plan there, so that's why they did that. So the word is basically Dawson Knox hamstring. He's on the NFI, not football injured. Spencer Brown back, as Sean said, flared up a bit. Didn't seem like it's anything he's too overly concerned about. But, with Spencer Brown's back injuries history.
Go on. I think I know what happened.
Me too.
I think Sal was finally lashing back at not getting a Yankees question after they won one. Enough with these guys. Always when they lose. They always have a Yankees question.
I was saving Yankee questions for the end.
I had one too.
Yeah, right.
But
we got your back, Sal.
I think he just felt like enough already with these two.
Yeah.
That's his way of protesting. He went to the mattresses.
Sal, we clipped off there talking about Dawson Knox. So the other.
Yeah, my apologies.
Hey, it happens. Laviska Shenault, tough. It's a long shot to make it to begin with, and to be not there to start is not great.
Agreed. And I was going to say the same thing, so thank you. You're right. Laviska Shenault needs to be on the field. He's not like Dawson Knox. He's not like Spencer Brown, where if he's not on the field, right now, it's going to be fine. He'll be fine. But Laviska Shenault needs to be available. He needs to be on the field. That wasn't the case today, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Lower leg strain is the way that Sean McDermott turned it.
Did your son further his quest to see Anthony Volpe traded after that mid-game throwing error last night, number 13?
We did not see the throwing error last night. We got home late. We had maybe one of the longest ever major division 10, 11-year-old baseball games ever played.
Uh-oh.
That's because once you get to the playoffs, the time limit is 2:15 before you can start a new inning, not 1:50 like the regular season. But it was awesome and intense, and it went a full 2:20 probably. and it's double elimination. They were the 1 seed. Our team is the 2 seed. They were undefeated all year, the team we played, my son's team. And, guys, it was awesome, and it went down to the last inning with literally, like, we wound up winning and giving them their first loss of the year and the only loss in the double elimination. And it came down to 5-4 in the 6th with the tying run on base and the winning run at the plate, and then we wound up getting out of it. So it was really cool. So, no, we didn't see that. Anyway, I just had to throw that because it was a super cool baseball
Yeah,
game.
right. Well, we were both of us were watching the Yankee game for you.
Oh, good.
I was watching the Jays, but sure.
I came home. I did first thing I saw. Okay, 4-4. Come on, what are you doing here? I didn't realize they blew the lead and they had been up, and then I saw that happen. And then, the Ben Rice home run obviously was just monstrous. They needed that. Devin Williams still scares me coming in, but he's a lot better now than he was early in the season, so I'm a little more confident. But it got a little hairy there at the end, but they needed that.
Do teams play games with the time limit?
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen that in tournament play before. I haven't seen it in our type of league, and it wasn't even close to that. You can't start a new inning after a certain time, and I mean, guys, it was already the game started at 6. It was 7:05, and we're in the 3rd inning. That's a long little league game, right?
Been there.
And we're like, holy cow! But it was also at that time it was 3-1. It was low scoring. So you still had a good game going on. So anyway, that means the championship, so to speak, is Saturday, and if the team Max plays on wins, they're the champions. They win. If they lose, it comes down to one final game between them and whoever beats them because we got to lose twice. That comes down next Tuesday, and I would be home for that because the Bills practice on Tuesday, not on Wednesday.
And they're on the field tomorrow and Friday, right?
Tomorrow and Friday. So the way this schedule works this year is 3 on, 1 off, 3 on. They're practicing 6 out of the first 7 days of camp. So, they'll be on the field tomorrow. It's going to be very hot tomorrow.
Yeah.
During the afternoon, the heat index like 100 degrees. So, I know people have asked, would they practice in the heat? Yes. I mean, that kind of heat, I don't know. But it's not going to be like that kind of hot heat when they practice. And they did end a little earlier today. It wasn't even noon when they got – it was like 11:30 when they ended today.
And do you have an idea at this point when pads will go on for the first time? I know teams more and more really ease into that, but eventually they will get to, pads and some live hitting and goal line and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it'll either be Sunday or Monday next week. I'm not really sure on that exactly. So either Sunday or Monday next week, I'm pretty sure. I think they have to go 3 days without pads and that. But a lot of times when you come back after a day off, coaches don't want to get you right into pads. You want to get you acclimated again with your bodies, and then they'll put the pads on the next day. But, it's funny. I just did the podcast with Matt, like I said, and Matt was talking about how he was really impressed with TJ Sanders and Deion Walker today. And I'm not here to tell you shouldn't be. Like, I think that they were both, impressive in their own right when I saw them. But I'm going to be super honest. I don't watch a lot of the line when there's no pads on, guys. Like, I'm really looking a lot. Right. I'm more looking at reps. I'm looking who's where. I'm looking at the skill position guys. I start paying attention to the O-line and the D-line a lot more once the pads come on.
Very good. Thank you, Sal.
You got it, guys.
That's our man, Sal Capaccio. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Coverage of Bills Camp from St. John Fisher, brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today.
You know what I just did? I just told on myself. I didn't proofread the sponsors because I didn't need to do the Outlet Liquor read. It was in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
And I should. Yeah.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah, good for the double dip. I just, but no.
The double dip.
Yeah.
They slurp the dipperino, as was coined on ADP chasing, maybe unfortunately, yesterday morning. If you know, you know. All right, James Cook, no biggie. 803-0550, your reaction on that. Other Bills camp topics we'll get into. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Day number 1 of Bills training camp is in the books. James Cook was a full participant today. No hold-in situation for him as he looks for a new contract. But 4 players did miss practice today, and Sean McDermott before practice gave the update for the media.
These 4 will not practice. Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Laviska Chenault with a lower leg strain.
General Manager Brandon Beane also spoke today. If you missed that, you can listen on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. And for more on day 1, Sal Capaccio and Paul Hamilton have pieces up at our website again, WGR550.com. And a reminder that coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Then in baseball, the Mets took down the Angels 6-3 earlier today, and then 2 games coming up at 7 o'clock. Jays host the Yankees, while the Bisons are on the road versus Columbus. And for the Bisons, you can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Listen, it's what happens when you've had success. People want to kind of see what's behind the curtain a little bit. The important thing for us is that we can, while we're here, build that connection and build that trust that is so important to building the chemistry that we need. You know, we have nothing to hide. We are who we are. I think the cool part about this is people see us on Sunday, they see us on game day. Now they get a chance to see that what we do on Sunday is exactly what we do Monday through Saturday. And I think that's the cool piece about it. The increased noise, if you will, is maybe in some ways good practice for us to really hone in and focus and get our focus where it needs to be.
Sean McDermott, Hard Knocks in town, and the show debuts 2 weeks from yesterday, August 5th. Will you have access to it?
Sure. Yes, I am a...
you have it all.
Whatever, Max, HBO. Yeah. Yes.
You have it all.
I don't have it all. I have that subscription, though. I will be watching that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be, if you end up not similarly equipped, I will be our Hard Knocks correspondent.
I definitely will not have access by then.
Want to come over?
Do I have to bring something? Probably you should, right? Anytime you go over somebody's house, you have to. You want to have something.
It's not really necessary.
I can't see it happening, but we'll think about it. Yeah. I'll run it by my crew.
Don't do that. I really don't want you to come.
You don't want everybody.
I don't even want you. No. I don't want anyone.
I'd rather just hear about it.
I want my doorbell to never ring, which it never does. I don't have a doorbell. The video, one of those things. I don't have it set up to make noise when there are people there.
That takes care of that, I guess.
I get pictures.
If you don't want your doorbell to ring, take it out. Right. I don't want this to seem trite because that's boring and we'll move on. But, here's McDermott talking about nothing to hide, how we work is who we are. I think they probably deserve a lot of credit for not really cracking yet under the weight of the Chiefs' losses. It's 4 times in 5 years. And then the Bengals won too. 5 years in a row, they've gone out mid to late in the playoffs to the same 2 teams. And isn't it, how noteworthy or commendable is it that this team, maybe that's part of the story with Cook being in today. Like there's just really no drama or backlash or conflict, it seems. Right?
Or even fatigue with the similarity in their demise each season. Like they just sort of they have the ability. I think they do. I think McDermott probably deserves, and probably Beane too. But McDermott is more around the players day to day whenever all this stuff is going on, especially now once we're into training camp. Just keeping them on track. There isn't really any sign of that. Like that I think we out here we get worn out by it. But I don't feel like they are at all. I mean, I don't know what's going on in their heads. I try to imagine someone, after the season, even like months after the season, sitting down with one of us in the media and saying like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think we're ever going to get there. I mean, play the opposite game like you always say, right? No one's ever going to tell you that they have doubts about their ability to actually get to the top of the mountain. But there's just no outward sign of that being a struggle for them mentally. They're just there and ready to go. I think, having a quarterback that can play at the level that Allen can play at is certainly a reason to always have that hope. I mean, I think that might sound like it gets overstated at times, but I don't think you can ever overstate it. It is simply you have a shot if you've got a guy that can play at that level. I mean, the rest of the roster matters. Everybody's got a job to do, yada, yada. But, man, you've got that guy, however bummed out you might be on January whatever, after you lose that game to the Chiefs again, you're going to take your time and take your off season and heal up and whatever, and mentally just, all right, I'm playing with that guy and let's go. This is the year. We can do it this year.
But there are so many players, and I think there would have to be some that have their doubts. And McDermott's job is to remove them, right? Like to not
count on them, at least.
To not have players think like that they can't win. I can't imagine there aren't some, though. In the same way there are fans, I think in Nick Kostos, right? Not a Bills fan, but an analyst. And he's like, look, I'll just tell you, I don't think the Bills will ever win with him. Allen is not Mahomes, and McDermott is definitely not Andy Reid. I just don't think they'll ever win. And I don't want to, I'm not there, like, if I need to say so, but I get it. I mean, it's been 4 times in 5 years, and the Bills have had home field in one game, and they've been so close in 3 of the 4. The first one could have been close, too. It just wasn't. So you can understand. I mean, there are fans who think this way,
yeah,
and there are maybe a higher percentage of non-fans who would say this about the Bills. This has been Ross Tucker on our show for 2 years. Like, when it comes down to it, who are you picking? Okay, well, another year went by and that wasn't disproved. So I would think there'd be players. I would say, I think, not so much about like the Bills themselves, but I don't think this is really how players think. I think players are sort of trained to not think about, to not look ahead, right? To not cart before the horse. They know to put their work in. It's game at a time. It's all that stuff. But they also follow the NFL and listen to, watch shows and talk to friends who have all these opinions. I think there'd be a lot of people, and maybe some who would be on the team, be like, everything about Allen, it's great. But how have we not beaten this team yet? Like, why not? Oh, well, we never take the ball away, and they score 30 points a game on us, if not higher. What's the average? It's higher than 30 points a game in those 4 games. Like, is that supposed to change here? You want to do your part to see to it, and you don't want to be thinking about this in July. Doesn't help you to think this. Definitely doesn't help you in July. But I would think there'd be players who would believe that they might not think they'll get there. And, the Bills are a tough case for this because they're so close. Like, the Bills might be a team where it's true that nobody thinks that way.
Yeah.
Like, today I've got, can writers figure this out? There's a Myles Garrett comment. Myles Garrett expects to win the Super Bowl. Can we please instead write, Myles Garrett says he expects to win the Super Bowl? Because he might not really expect to win the Super Bowl as a member of the Cleveland Browns. He might not really mean it. He's going to say it. You're going to ask him if he expects to win the Super Bowl. What is he going to say? No. Don't say he expects. Say he says he expects. Jaden Daniels, not worried about McLaurin holdout. Can we please just add those same 2 words? Jaden Daniels says he's not worried about a McLaurin holdout, because he might actually be worried about that. If he is, he will not tell you. Can we just do that? Oh, it's very simple, and it's necessary. Because are we really expecting all these football people to be at their word? We know they're not. All right. And rant.
Yeah. Well, this came up, I think, one day when you were away before I went away. Obviously, I'm not on the team. I'm just in here, and I know the fans there are those fans out there, actual Bills fans, not Nick Costos, who've latched onto that and believe that, and they believe that since 13 seconds happened, and they haven't been wrong yet. But for me, it's not hard for me to get back to a place every year. It's a new year. And the games have been very close, especially recently. I mean, the first one was the biggest lopsided game of the four of them, the playoff games anyway, that they've lost to the Chiefs. And I think with that quarterback on your team and the rest of the roster, it's not like they're weak in any real area. We have our concerns about whether there's enough at receiver, but I have no trouble at all believing they could win it. Like I don't ever. This shouldn't surprise you or anyone who's listened to us and me for any amount of time. Like I just do not subscribe to they can't do it. They're right there, and 4 games isn't really that many games. I know it's repetitive, but I don't know, as long as I've got that guy and he's in his prime still, like this will get harder to say maybe 3 or 4 years from now. Or hopefully it's longer than that. When Allen's running starts to maybe die down and he's just not as dangerous a player all around. Maybe he'll find a way to be more even effective than he is now as a passer when his running starts to, dissipate from his game just because of age and attrition, physical attrition. But for now, until further notice, I have no trouble at all believing they could win it. Like I don't view McDermott as some impediment to that at all myself. But that's just me. I think having Allen, I believe in the just keep knocking on the door. Now I don't. With that said, I don't want that to last forever. Like at some point, something's going to have to change if they can't get over that hump. And it certainly should not be Josh Allen. So figure that out when we get there. But I don't know, man. I'm still very optimistic about their chances going into this year.
Back to the original point, they just have not had very much discord through this. What guys think they know to mostly keep that to themselves if it's at all negative. Like they're not going to tell us. But whatever form that would take, just malcontents or players that just are not on board, like they've won so much, it wouldn't necessarily be that there'd be these players, but the heartbreaking losses, I think they deserve some credit for not having more of that. Maybe it's not just Cook, it's top of mind a little bit because they got to a place here with their running back. He just walked in. I'm here. Let's go. And that to many would have been unexpected. But really just overall, Hard Knocks comes in. Hey, it's just, we're good. This is what happens. Look, help show yourself around, whatever you need. Make yourself at home. Anyway, maybe it's not a great point, but I do think it's kind of cool that they haven't had more go sideways for them after all these Chief heartbreaks. Here's John next. Hi, John.
How you doing? Just calling in because I remember the Kansas City game this year, and we barely threw the ball. I mean, most of the passes were down the line of scrimmage, a lot of them in that game. And I know everybody's saying the wide receivers are going to be fine, but we really haven't improved there. You basically swapped out Hollins for Palmer, and Palmer never stays healthy. So that's kind of a wash. And then you trade for Cooper because nobody could get open, and he's gone. So I really don't see how we improve there at all. I know we got more, but he's bounced around the league. So that's kind of a concern for me. Just want to see what you guys think about that.
I mean, listen, let me get you the Odyssey app because we talk about this every day. I mean, you say everybody says no problem. That's a different world that I'm familiar with. I work here, and we've had that knocked on our door. What do you guys mean there's a problem at wide receiver? So it's definitely not that nobody thinks the way you do. You have a lot of company. And I'm with you. If Josh Palmer makes a real difference, I think it's probably to be expected that he'll make some plays for them. But if Josh Palmer or Elijah Moore show up with like 70 catches or anything like that, I think it's almost shocking if that happens. Somebody has to catch Holland's passes. Maybe they get behind more in games and there's more passing and they're able to just sort of, the volume ramps up that way. But yeah, I think it very much is a question about them. I think it might be, on offense, it's, to me, they're easily their biggest question is the receiver talent. And, defensively, maybe it's the secondary. I can appreciate this Max Hairston play today. I saw it. The Bills are going to tweet good things that Max Hairston does. What they're not going to do is necessarily tweet good things that undrafted free agent cornerbacks do in these practices. Because Hairston's the guy. He's the one that matters. Like, they're going to show you his best side. And, he made that play. Sal was there. He vouched for it and spoke up about Hairston today. But that is kind of the message the Bills would want to send.
Palmer has missed 10 games total over 4 years. So I don't know if that's exactly injury prone. 17 games played, 16, 10 in 23, 15 last year.
Sounds like one injury.
Right, one year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think of him as that either. Thanks, John. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR. on the pup list. Again from yesterday. Pup list sounds very cute and normal and good. I'd like to be on a pup list. I have a puppy. I like a pup list. The physically unable to perform list, however, sounds very harsh and could mean multiple things. But the Bills have 2 players on the pup list. Not the pulp list. That's a different list altogether. The Texans have 11. The Texans started camp with 11 players on the pup list and several others on the non-football injury list. Joe Mixon is one of the 11 on the pup list for Houston. I think he has an ankle injury.
Did I see something about a walking boot even?
Walking boot, ankle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So you've been drafting him.
Every time I can. I cannot get enough Joe Mixon.
He's probably a good pick.
Did they pick one of the hotshot kids?
They did. Not one of the more hyped. Jaquavion Woody Marks, the guy who goes by Woody because of Toy Story.
Right. I remember talking about him at the draft.
He went as Woody for Halloween. I think it was 7 years in a row.
Right. You mentioned this. Yeah.
Which who has ever gone out for Halloween in the same costume for 7 years? That is dedication. That is love. That's what that is. It's more than that is love.
Yeah.
So Woody Marks. They also have Nick Chubb now.
It also could be a lack of resources.
Well, I shouldn't laugh. Yes. But don't kids grow?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, this guy's in the NFL now.
I hate the thought of this kid wearing at, say, 12 the same Woody outfit he wore at 7. Ill-fitting. That's tough.
Woody Marks.
Let me see if we can still get you into the communion suit. Yeah, Mom! Not going to happen.
Nick Chubb is there.
Right.
Also.
Okay.
They talked about using him in Mixon's absence here coming up, but he's also Nick Chubb. You really sure you want to use him in July?
You might want to ease into that, yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of a quandary. So fun today with all the camps open and all, Russell Wilson is our starter with the Giants. Lots of not always unpredictable or unexpected news around the league, but at least it's something where you've got who's practicing with the ones, right? The ones, that's a phrase we haven't had around for a while.
You've got players talking to the media. You've got the Dallas guys yesterday, Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons. Parsons took some shots at Jerry Jones. That's interesting. Tua went deep and long today on Tyreek Hill and their relationship. That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of stuff crackling. Joe Burrow said today it's unfortunate what's going on with Shamar Stewart, their first-round pick, and Trey Hendrickson, the leader in sacks the last 2 years in the league, both not in camp because of contract disputes.
Is there any way the Bills can get in on Hendrickson?
I don't know if they have the ability. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say they'd have to clear X amount of dollars. But if you trade for him and give him a new contract, you can shape that, I think, into, at least for this year, a way that you can make it work financially. So I want to say, yeah, I think there's a way. You could work your way into that if you had the appetite for it.
What would that be? 803-0550 if you think you know. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after sports. This is WGR.
Today, day one is in the books, but before the players hit the practice field, head coach Sean McDermott did meet with the media and gave an injury update as 4 players did not practice today.
Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Laviska Chenault with a lower leg strain.
Running back James Cook, however, did practice in full today. He was potentially a hold-in candidate as he looks for a new contract, but that seems to be squashed. General Manager Brandon Beane also spoke with the media. That was following practice. If you missed that, you can listen on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. And speaking of our website, Zach Pacho and Paul Hamilton have more on day one over on our website. Coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joy, Shore Border Attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors Affairs, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Arizona rookie Walter Nolan is expected to miss time. Picked up a calf injury while getting ready for training camp. That, according to head coach Jonathan Gannon. And the Texans have placed running back Joe Mixon on the non-football injury list. While in baseball, the Mets take down the Angels 6-3. Then 2 games just after 7 o'clock, the Jays host the Yankees, and the Bisons are on the road versus Columbus. And the Bisons game you can listen to on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
If you want to talk Bills with us, maybe you're out at Fisher today, 803-0550. If you don't, fine, we'll be doing plenty of it. Bulldog is over here farming training camp news from around the league. Chase Brown?
That is what I'm doing, yes. Chase Brown. There's a little video I just saw of him running through the ladder. You know, the ladder.
Yeah, I love the ladder.
The ladder. There's some little cones there. Anyway, quote here from their O coordinator, Dan Pitcher. Chase Brown is going to be one of the focal points of our offense. Did I say that the first time I read it to you off the air? One of the focal points of our offense because he deserves to be. This tweet contains the text that says here, Dan Horde is the reporter sharing this. The team record for scrimmage yards in a season is 1773 by James Brooks.
Oh, I love James Brooks.
Could Chase Brown break it? He had 1350 last year.
No.
When I saw the reason I said it to you, I mean, Chase Brown, whatever, fantasy, I read it as Chase Brown is going to be the focal point of our offense, and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are on that team, and I thought, wow, but okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach, exactly.
Sure.
Thanks, Coach.
He's your number one running back, so you're going to use him probably.
I know. A lot. What team's number one running back would not be described as one of the focal points of their offense?
He's going to have the ball probably 280 times this year between catching and running, so yeah.
I shouldn't have said I loved James Brooks. That was too strong.
But you liked him?
I liked him. Yeah, I liked him as a Charger, and then he went to the Bengals and beat the Bills in the playoffs, and I didn't like him as much. But respected him. One of those guys. Here we are, running backs again. One of those running backs from the day, depending on your age, when the day was, that had a style, always was described as, well, often the focal point of the offense. In that team's case, it would have been Brooks and Nicky Woods in '88 with the Bengals. But yeah, he was small, quick.
I remember him being small and quick, but also because of the era he played in, having preposterously huge shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like he never looked like a big guy, but the pads just looked like they were. His shoulder pads, in my head, I know this isn't actually the case, but in my head, if you were to ask me to draw from my memories of James Brooks, the shoulder pads would be like halfway up his helmet. In the picture that I would draw, because that's how I see it.
Who's on the Mount Rushmore of shoulder pads? Garth Snow.
Yeah, sure.
Every indoor lacrosse goalie.
Chest protector, shoulder pad combo, but yeah, sure. All right.
It's amazing that like at a Bandits game, the shoulder pads the goalies wear have not like broken through the roof of the arena and caused it to rain indoors. Every indoor lacrosse goalie, Garth Snow, James Brooks, apparently.
Feel like there's a couple of the Steelers, like the James Harrison might be too early. Levon Kirkland.
Okay.
Greg Lloyd, like those Steelers. But again, everybody in the league had much bigger rigs on than the guys have on now. But those Steelers guys, I just felt looked massive. Kirkland was a really big guy for an agile linebacker like he was. Like he was a very big, heavy man for someone who moved the way he did, but big shoulder pads.
Bills. Conlon
comes to mind. Yep.
I was thinking of Joe DeLamielleure for a second, but it's not shoulder pads. It's that collar that he wore.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a horse collar? What is that? Is that a Grogan?
Yeah, I think it's a Grogan.
Is it?
Yeah.
That collar around his neck?
I think it is, yeah.
A little added protection can't hurt.
Sure. A Bills player does not immediately spring to mind as like just ridiculously, comically huge shoulder pads.
Ray Bentley?
Maybe, yeah. There's a highlight that makes the rounds it makes the rounds, whatever. It's a Bills-Steelers highlight from the 90s, and I think the running back is maybe Barry Foster.
Okay.
And there's a block downfield. Somebody just obliterates. I think it's Shane. It might be Shane Conlon. I can't remember who it is. But everybody on the field in that video, the shoulder pad, it just looks like a video of shoulder pads. Like everybody's got these tiny little pinheads and these giant shoulder pads. Even Foster, like the running back, has got these big. Thank you for those watching on the stream. I just did this while I was describing Barry Foster.
Arms?
I moved my arms like I was running, awkwardly, not very.
Need a ball? Do we have a ball?
Here, I got my drink. No.
Like Kyle Pitts today,
such a different look back then.
Kelso had the helmet.
Right.
We need is too much. Do we want a Rushmore for each piece of equipment in sports? Who do you think of? Hockey helmets. Mike Lezakowski, Butch Goring.
Foligno.
Mike Foligno.
Northland helmet. Yeah.
Have you ever met Mike Foligno? Probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mike Foligno used to come get pizzas from me at Santora's at Main and Union. It was one of my favorite phone calls ever. Like, it's busy. Lines are on hold, right? So thanks for calling Santora's Main and Union. Can you hold, please? Hold. And eventually someone will get around to, everybody would take turns. Who's available? I'm freed up. I'll go get somebody get on the phone. And I picked up a line. I answered the phones a lot there. I was a manager. I answered the phone and said, thanks for holding. This is Santora's. What can I do for you? Who am I talking to? The voice says. And I say, this is Chris Parker. He said, Chris, this is Mike Foligno, the Buffalo Sabres. And then he just gave me this huge order. And I'm like, okay, Mike, we'll see you in a little while.
So were you supposed to give him the pizza for free?
I didn't.
Is that why he did that?
I don't know.
Half price? What would you do?
I was not instructed to ever do that. Gilbert Perreault used to come in for spaghetti pretty regularly on the way home from games.
You always charged them full price?
Yeah, there was never any.
Sound like those guys were super rich.
Yeah, they didn't. There was never an issue. There was never like a hesitate. Like, oh, this guy's charging me.
As far as you know.
As far as I know. Yeah.
Did they ever come back?
But no, they came. Yeah, well, Foligno came a few times, and Perreault would come in. Those Sunday night home games, those 7 o'clock Sunday night home games, that was his night. He didn't do it every time there was a game, but
after a game.
Yeah, after a game, like half a dozen times, 10 o'clock at night. Here's Gilbert Perreault stopping in for some spaghetti and a salad to take home.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I always can't believe you didn't give him a break.
And he would always find like a shadowy spot to stand so that other people coming in and out weren't going to go like, oh, there's Gilbert Perreault. Mm-hmm. He would just kind of hang out in a trench coat, like in the shadows, and like,
I can see it,
Mr. Perreault, your food's ready. Thank you very much.
I can see it.
His way.
I can see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I never asked the boss if I should be giving the Sabres people deals, but I don't remember ever doing that.
Is James Cook right now walking around Pittsford with a sign around his neck that says, "I'm playing for my rookie deal. I'm still on my rookie deal."
Right.
Trying to see if he can get a loaf of bread.
Give me a break on some wings, please.
I bet those guys expect, I don't mean this in a bad way, I bet those guys expect a break. They don't have to, accept it.
Right.
They shouldn't need to.
No, I would think if they go to whatever they go, wherever, everybody knows the popular wing joints. They go to that place. And like Josh Allen is notorious. People, I think, know his favorite wings. I don't want to say them because I'm not sure what they are. But
I want to say I have no idea.
Okay. I have a guess, but I don't want to guess. But I know the joint, and whatever. They comp him. I think he leaves the waitress $100. You know what I mean? Like you'd want to do something because if they're going to comp you the food, like let me take care of who's taking care of me, kind of thing. I'm just guessing. I mean, I don't mean to put pressure on him like he should be tipping people $100 everywhere he goes. But, you bring 3 teammates out for wings, and if they do comp you, then I think you go above and beyond with the servers.
Makes sense. Well, Cook, if you didn't know, is in. And that might be that. So much for all this speculation that we have absolutely dived headfirst into this whole time. I have. I'm not embarrassed by it. I feel like that's what you should do. When a running back is tweeting about getting a huge raise on this team, I mean, should you ignore that, or should you think that he might be serious? Maybe he wasn't serious. Because how could you be serious and just do nothing? Don't you kind of want to think that through first? I mean, if you don't really think you might want to talk to your agent first, not just your brother. You might want to talk to somebody and be like, they kind of have you
right
here. He is getting a big jump this year in his pay from last year, just by the virtue
structure
of his deal.
Of the contract.
Yes, right. But I don't know like how much money he's gotten already or if that's a thing. But wouldn't you want to, seems like obviously you would want to maybe consider the consequences and what are the possible outcomes here? And if he wasn't willing to go to literally day 2 of training camp without any sort of a stand, what was the point? Sal said that too today with us. What was the point?
His career has gone $1 million, $1.3 million, $1.5 million, and now $5 million this year. So he's made $4.6 million.
He'll make more this year than he's made combined in his career.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good.
That's a healthy jump. But still, if you're looking for security, it's just not. I mean, you should be able to be reasonably secure with that. I know, right? But still, in that world,
I'd like to try at it.
You're looking for right. Can I make it?
Let me try it.
I'm 60. Can I make it from here to the finish line on $4.6 million? I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say
let me try.
I think I can make it. I'm hopeful.
Make it a Brewster's Million situation, and if I lose it all. Right? Let me see if I can make it 4 years on $5 million. If I can't, I lose it. No, Brewster's Millions, 2 days in a row for classic 80s movies. Princess Bride and now Brewster's Millions. That guy had to spend a fortune, I think in 30 days, to get
a bigger fortune.
The bigger fortune, right. But if he had to spend it all, and he couldn't explain why he was doing it. And he had a female financial advisor helping him, and she was always just incredulous. Why are you buying this antique vase? I can't tell you, but there's a method to my madness.
I have a plan.
I have a plan. So anyway, what was Cook's point? Was it just to be funny? Anybody know? What was this about?
Hope, maybe if I say I want this, they'll just give it to me. I don't know.
Maybe the Bills are on Twitter and would notice me that way,
right.
Not just because I've just scored literally 18 touchdowns in a season for them. I'd have to go through Twitter to get their attention. I don't know. I don't know what kind of advice this guy gets. I think today seems Sal again using Sal. Is today the end of it? I mean, it's weird if it isn't.
I think it's the end of it. I don't even want to say it because I'm.
He could get a new deal.
He could get a new deal. He also could think showing up should precipitate him getting a new deal, and if he doesn't, then he storms out on day 3 of camp or something. But I feel like a jackass even suggesting that. He's done everything that he, by the letter, that he was supposed to do throughout this, except for the tweeting, really, and there's nothing. There's no rule against that. He just did it. It was an odd tack to take and not do anything substantive to follow it up, which is really your point here. So I want to ease back on the conjecture about what could still happen if it's negative toward him, because he's here. Like it's a nothing burger at this point. And yeah, the only thing to me that would make it a story again, that's likely. And I don't even think it's that likely, is that there suddenly is a deal. Like that, like I said earlier, that they've got, they had a number, Cook didn't like it, Bean didn't like that he didn't like it, and was stern about it when he was asked about it right away back in the winter at the combine or whenever it was Bean first talked, owners meetings. Like we moved on to other things, and that was the last of it. And so maybe whatever that number was, now that Cook has shown up, he came to minicamp, he's here now, he's doing all the work, maybe the Bills have had a little in reserve left to like, hey, here's a little extra from our last offer, here's some more guaranteed money or whatever could move the thing across the goal line. And maybe at this point Cook goes, well, if I can get 4 times as much guaranteed that I'm due this year, right? $20 million guaranteed, say, on a 3-year deal. Yeah, maybe that's worth doing. And the Bills maybe would be happy with that. I would assume they would if they were willing to offer it. They would be happy if he would accept it. So maybe that's out there, but I don't know. I feel like the Bills should be basically sitting at the table with their arms folded, or not even at the table anymore. Just like, we're done. He's here. He's going to play out his rookie deal, and we'll see what happens from there. We'll re-engage at some point, but I'd say the most likely scenario now is he just plays it out and hits free agency next year.
I can't resist. It's not going to work perfectly, but another dated reference. I shouldn't even. I always refer to this one episode of Seinfeld where it's the pilot and he has the girlfriend, the woman playing Elaine, and he's just like so indifferent toward her. And, the Bills are Seinfeld. He's got, a hot towel on his back of his neck or something. His feet are up. He's reading the paper. It's the 80s or the 90s, right? He's reading the paper, and she comes over and says something. He's like, okay. And the Bills are Seinfeld in that, and Cook's like, but wait, well,
all right.
Well, whatever.
We're good here.
Let us know. Whatever. Nothing to see. Is he on the team next year?
I would bet heavily no.
Heavily no. This is it. There aren't a lot of these. Right? The Bills have taken care of their young stars so thoroughly that usually don't have. Maybe there's a better example. Najee Harris in Pittsburgh. Right? We thought they were lousy, but they were in the playoffs again.
He had 1,000 yards.
He had 1,000 yards. He had 1,000 yards every year of his career. They had already declined his 5th-year option, so there wasn't as much speculation about whether he would be back. But there's a guy that was serviceable to his team and somewhat of a star, and then their season ended, and he was just gone. There are players that get cut unexpectedly sometimes, cap savings, different things. Like Von Miller not being back isn't surprising.
No.
Last season ended, and, right away we're like, he's probably gone. And he is. What is it going to sound like this year with Cook if there isn't a contract? Are we going to just never talk about it? Are we going to want to? Not even like, should they do something, anything like along those stricter lines, but just going to watch it end? Feeling like it's probably going to end?
I think probably, yeah.
And then Ray Davis or some rookie or free agent as their running back in 26.
Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and a rookie or a mid free agent that doesn't cost as much as Cook was going to cost, and you just keep going. Yeah,
It all sounds right to me. It's defensible.
Yeah.
It's always been defensible.
Yeah. Cook is, over here I'm thinking, they did do this with Devin Singletary, but Singletary was never the level of player that Cook was. I mean, snap count-wise, it might be a pretty close match, usage-wise, but production-wise, everything. Like, Cook has been, just a better running back for the Bills than Singletary was. But they did just let that play itself out, and he left, and he's been to Houston and then the Giants. And is he still there in the Giants?
He is.
He's with the Giants.
He is so with the Giants.
Oh, here we go.
On ADP chasing yesterday, we examined closely several team photos, workout photos, because we all want to know who's in with the quarterback. And no one is closer to Russell Wilson in that picture than Devin Singletary. He's like, they're all over each other in this picture.
All right.
Malik Neighbors is way over there. Jameis Winston is way over there. Jackson Dart is over here. I don't remember everybody. Theo Johnson's kind of close. There's Devin Singletary right in there. I mean, I think he's third there. Scattaboo and Tyrone Tracy. He might be second because Tracy fumbled a lot. But the rookie is probably in line to be important with the Giants. And Russell Wilson will be the starter. And he's never looked happier than he looked in that picture.
Oh, sure.
He's ready.
Yeah.
Let's ride. 803-0550. Bills camp is open. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Lines are open here on WGR.
Training camp is in the books. James Cook was a full participant, no hold-in situation for him, though 4 players did miss practice today. Sean McDermott had those names before practice earlier today.
Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Lavisca Chenault with a lower leg strain.
General Manager Brandon Beane also spoke today. If you missed that, you can listen on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. And speaking of the website, Sal Capaccio and Paul Hamilton have more of their thoughts on day 1 of training camp. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit Upstate Honda dealer today. In baseball, the Mets got to work early this afternoon. They took down the Angels 6-3. Then we got 2 games just after 7 o'clock. The Jays host the Yankees, and the Bisons, they're on the road versus Columbus. Bisons game you can listen to on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
As I've said all along, I love James Cook. You know how I am. I want to draft, develop, re-sign our own. It is a business. We have to fit it in. Not only cash, but cap. And you can look at it and say, well, you go to this website or whatever, they could fit them in if they did this and this. But we also have to look at 26, 27, and beyond, because you can walk yourself into one of those years where you're like, oh man, there's not a lot of guys we can take down in those years. We would have to trade or cut someone that we wouldn't want to lose. So it's not only 2025 when we're doing a deal with him or any other players.
Brandon Beane might be worth reading into that quote. That's a part of this too, that in maybe good and bad ways, this hypothetical Cook contract extension would take them through at least 27, if not longer. And while you might like the security of that, as the Bills or anybody, it also precludes them from not only doing what he said, it's restrictive potentially in your salary cap, in your world. But I always like thinking about, too, like, that means I can't necessarily go get anybody better. If I'm paying him what I would be paying him, off the table is any possible plan B at that position. Because then it would just be controversy. It'd be like, well, you're paying this guy, right?
Right.
You're paying this guy $10 million a year, but you're playing a rookie over him or whatever you might want to do. So,
yep, I think I like that point. And I also think, you don't want to put yourself in a position where organizationally you feel you need to expand what he does for you, what you're asking him to do, because you're paying him so much, right? Like, to who much is given, much is expected, right? I remember Darcy Regier saying that like 25 or 30 years ago.
My grandmother.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, would that change, how they lay it out? It's part of the reason why I haven't really wanted, it doesn't have to mean that, but it can compel you to feel that way. I don't know that would extend to the play caller necessarily, but the way they have it set up right now, it worked great last year. I'd want to keep doing that, and that does not include a running back making even $10 million in my world. I think that quote from Beane right there is the closest we've ever gotten to, and it's not really even that close, but I think it's the closest I would want to get to inferring that he just doesn't believe in paying running backs. Like somewhere within all those words is I think you just end up at, he's not going to pay a running back. He's going to pay defensive ends. He's going to pay cornerbacks. He's going to play his quarterback, of course. And running back is down here priority wise. I'm going to find someone else to do what you do for me. Again, he didn't say that or even imply that. I'm just, I don't know, between the lines. I think we've always I've suspected that, but they've never had a real test because nobody commanded it, right? Cook is the closest they've come to someone who you could argue deserves to be paid more than he's getting paid, right? The other guys were all just sort of placeholders almost, right? Devin Singletary, okay, he's fine. Motor, a couple big runs, great, playoff success to some degree.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. Cook's better and has been more productive, and therefore there's more of a conversation there. Like, was anybody going, oh, you don't let Devin Singletary get near the open market? Like, I don't remember Bills fans feeling that way at all 3 years ago.
By the way, if you didn't know, and if you happen to care, his career high in rushing yards was for Houston.
Singletary.
Yeah. I liked him.
Sure.
He's not the all-time Singletary. Mike Singletary.
No, Mike Singletary exists, therefore.
And I don't know about his shoulder pads, but he had the eyes.
Yeah.
Singletary had the...
He played in that era. He had big shoulder pads, too.
They all did?
Yeah.
Then, you think?
Except maybe...
Pretty much?
Even kickers.
Kickers had shoulder pads?
Sure.
Nick Lowry.
Sure.
It was a choice you probably had to make as a kicker, is whether, like, Scout Norwood didn't really wear shoulder pads, did he?
He had shoulder pads.
He did?
Yeah. They weren't James Harrison-sized shoulder pads, but they were shoulder pads.
All right. Could you not as a kicker? Did they all? Did Morton Anderson wear shoulder pads?
Yeah, they all did.
He did?
Yeah.
You have this like locked in your brain how they all...
There's no question. Maybe not big. Maybe that's where these smaller ones, although that's really about the technology and the lighter weight, and it's still as protective as the bigger stuff was. You don't need the bulk. But, yeah, I don't think any kicker ever was on the field without shoulder pads.
Okay.
They might get in a, whatever. You got to tackle somebody on a kick return, even if you're just going to fall down in front of them and try to trip them, whatever. You're wearing the gear.
I got a name.
Yeah,
I got a name to test that. I got to see a picture. Efren Herrera.
100% wore shoulder pads.
100%.
100%. No question in my mind.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Former Bill.
Yeah.
He was.
I don't remember that.
I guess he is wearing shoulder pads in these. Roy Jarella.
Yes, shoulder pads.
Stenerud.
100%.
All the way back?
All the way back.
I mean, you go back a little bit farther,
I don't know.
The kickers also were the running back.
I mean, if we're going to get to where they're leather helmets, I don't know what sort of shoulder pad technology there was then. They might have just had phone books. Were there phone books back then? I don't know what they would, but had just strapped it. I think there are still phone books. I don't know why exactly, but I think there are. Because my parents don't have the internet. That's why there are phone books. It's my parents' fault.
If you go back to this, like Cookie Gilchrist was the kicker for the Bills there for a minute. Like he would definitely have already been wearing shoulder pads.
Nope, yeah.
So your kickers came from, one of the 22 until Stenerud, right? Until like the merger. Then you started having kickers that were only kickers.
I think if you had a kicker in any era that decided, I don't want to wear the shoulder pads, they're just setting themselves up. You're not even a football player as it is.
Yeah, and
so
I'm going to act like it.
You just put on the gear, big man. Get the gear on.
Alan Hearns, get out. His picture was sorry, I forced that. His picture was on Pro Football Reference today, one of those 12 pictures. I saw Alan Hearns. I'm like, I thought I would mention that.
Yeah, right.
What a moment. Fantasy Bulldog.
Sure.
Firing Alan Hearns from his roster in one bit of fit of rage. Fit of rage.
Fit of something. I don't know. Rage. I don't know if it rose to rage level.
Alan Hearns.
Fit of
get out.
Can you have fit of mildly upset? No, there's no. If you're having a fit, it's a fit of rage.
Alan Hearns.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just thinking. I've not given you a chance on the show since you've been back to run down the Sabres schedule. Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
No.
You haven't seen it? Okay.
No. I know they're the open. I saw a home opener is Rangers, and I assume that's the opener.
Yes.
Right? That's their first game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 2 years in a row now that I was not here for the schedule. Because
sounds like it's a point.
I remember you texting me the first day we were in this incredible 3-floor apartment thing in Malaga, Spain, that we had all to ourselves, a rooftop pool. It was an incredible spread that my wife landed, Airbnb or whatever, Verbo. And you texted me the same. I was like, This is the most hilarious moment I've ever had. I'm in Spain, and you're asking me about, did you look to see how many 7:30 games there were?
That's what it was.
Or something. I'm just like,
that is what it was.
I did not yet. I did think about it, but I just closed it out and just left it alone.
This year there's one.
I didn't want to start looking.
I think this year there's one.
No. Yeah.
Paul said something about how they want all the games to be at 7.
I mean, I can get with that. I wonder if they hear from people that might even miss, like, whatever. They don't realize it's the game's at a different time. Maybe just don't look. Sometimes they change. The schedule will say one thing, and then there's an email telling us, oh, this game or that game, TV, right, TSN or something. They had to move it. And not every fan would necessarily pay attention to that sort of stuff, and they might just think, oh, I got the schedule. I printed it from July. This game's at 7. No, it's not.
Oh, there were at least 50 games last year when the Sabres didn't know what time it started.
Hey-o. Yeah, no.
What was the exact number?
I've not spent much time, and by not much time, I mean 0 time.
Okay,
on the schedule.
Whenever you want.
The games will come. I'll be aware when they get closer.
The one interesting thing to me was the schedule lasts for the same amount of time as usual. Second week of October to the second week of April. But there's a 3-week break.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to feel like they're playing every night.
Yeah.
Because those games did not get spread out past the ends. The schedule is, again, the same, whatever that is, 6 months and change. So they're going to be a lot of very busy weeks for them and, in our way for us. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll be right back. This is WGR. Welcome back, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. You can reach us at 803-0550. Rob is next. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
I was listening to your conversation. I was thinking about Yari Curry's helmet. That's one that you guys maybe kind of funny helmet.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, Bulldog, there's hardly any magic in Princess Bride, so give it a go. And Mike.
How far is this going back? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, right. And then the Brewster's Millions. The stamp. He buys that stamp and mails it. the rare stamp.
Okay.
Pretty good.
I forgot that part.
Anyways, I was just talking to the guy, the screener, in about 13 seconds, and I remember that game. I was at a friend's house, and when they scored that last touchdown to Gabe Davis, me and my buddy were jumping up and down, hugging each other, and it all fell apart, obviously. But I just think with our defense, with McDermott at the head, think about last year. If we didn't have those turnovers, it's all we'd be talking about is how terrible the defense was. We didn't get any third down stops. We didn't get any stops in that Kansas City game. Well, we got the one, but it put a lot of pressure on Allen. That wasn't very easy for him to score to 30 points in that game. And I just feel like if we had Spagnuolo, I think we would probably win those games. They're so close, and it comes down to just those one or two plays, and they make those plays and we don't. I think it comes down not so much as talent as coaching and putting the players in the right position. So I mean, that's where my opinion is, and I'll never forgive McDermott for 13 seconds until we win it all. So other than that, I don't know. I don't know if he has to go or he's a great coach, but just can't get over that hump. And I think if things were reversed and Allen was on Kansas City, I think they even win more. I think the quarterbacks are a wash, pretty much. The defenses are pretty comparable, but they got the better game plan. I don't know. It just irks me that we can't beat those guys, and it's so close. One or two plays, coaching is so huge in those critical moments, and we come up short.
Yeah, that is what's happened. I agree with a lot of the sentiment here. I'd have a tough time going as far as just to say, if not for the turnovers, X. Because while there is randomness in turnovers, I always want to make sure I'm heard to say, it's not all luck. And I think the Bills probably, and McDermott himself, probably deserve credit for how successful they've been in that area. You've got to be in the right position. It's preparation, knowing where the quarterback is going. Not so much fumbles. It's more of a technique and then bounces. So I don't want to disqualify takeaways from the Bills. It has certainly meant a lot.
Yeah. Joe Marino had a chart a couple of weeks ago, before vacation sort of took hold of the summer here, how, year over year, they're in near the top. There's maybe one year where they're maybe in 10th or something, but other years it's all top 5, top whatever. They're excellent at it. It is a point of emphasis. Whenever I make the point about being worried about do they have enough on offense when being so defiant about his receiver room and all that stuff going back to the draft and how they had so much good fortune with turnovers. It's not so much that I would want to penalize them for taking the ball away. I think they have proven that that's a point of emphasis and they are good at it. So I wouldn't want to entirely discredit that. What I'm worried about is that the ratio is going to change. That you're not going to recover all of your fumbles like you did last year. It's just not going to go that way, right? Maybe more passes will glance off receivers' hands into the hands of a safety or something for the other team. I just wouldn't expect the Bills to have the differential that they had year over year. But they take the ball away. It should be on McDermott's resume. They do a great job of it. And like you just said, it's not all luck, but some of not falling prey to turnovers yourself is also luck. And I just don't know that, like last year, they just had so much good fortune in that area, more so in not giving it away themselves than taking it away, I would say.
After that, I'm with you, though, whether it's Steve Spagnuolo or not. This year, for me, is when McDermott has to come up with the goods in that moment, assuming that another Bills-Chiefs game, if it's inevitable or what it is, this is the year where, and other people would have said other years, for me, enough. My quarterback is great. he's going to be 30 next year. I've gotten so close so often. Enough with the Chiefs running all over me in the playoffs every year. And they did it last year in a season where they didn't run over anybody. Like, they had a terrible year offensively, and when it came to play the Bills in the playoffs, they couldn't be stopped. So I'm done with that. For all he's won, for all they've accomplished, you have to really go back to remember, amazingly, a time when the Bills were not at this sort of elite level. It's a long time ago now, fully to their credit. But I got to win one. And if I'm getting outmatched in the playoffs by the same staff every year, as has happened, what am I going to do about it? Nothing? Ever? Like, wait for them to retire? The pressure is on this year. It's always on. And I'm sure what McDermott would say to this point is like, I welcome it, which, I would believe.
Mm-hmm.
But the schedule, division, competition, the state of their roster, like it's got to happen. Get to that one. Get these people at home again. Hopefully you're healthy for it. That you can't fully control. And you've got to draw up some zero blitz or something, one of these plays, and make a difference. Easy to say. But 0-4 in those games, 3 of which have been nail-biters. I just can't do nothing about it ever. I mean, I've got to see that change, just for me. Thanks, Rob. You remember Brewster's Millions better than I do. I remember the movie.
Right.
I know he had it was Richard Pryor. He had a Cubs jersey.
I saw it in the theater. I'm pretty
I
sure.
did too. Yeah. I would have also. I liked it, but I forgot about the stamp.
I was a big Richard Pryor fan.
Were you?
Yeah, I went to see, he had a stand-up movie that I remember going to see at the Como Park Mall cinemas.
Right. They had those.
Yeah.
Like Eddie Murphy Raw.
Right.
Stand-up movies.
Right.
Richard Pryor. Has the show ever sounded cooler?
All right.
No.
No, definitely not.
Lines are open for your calls. What's the best or most interesting training camp battle in the league? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after the update. This is WGR.
In the books, running back James Cook practiced in full today, so no hold-in situation for him. But 4 players did miss practice today. Head coach Sean McDermott gave the update earlier this morning.
Dawson Knox with a hamstring, Sid Van Pran has a calf, Spencer Brown with his back, and then Laviska Chenault with a lower leg strain.
General Manager Brandon Beane also spoke today. He spoke after practice. If you missed that, you can listen on our Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. And a reminder of Bill's training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joy Short Border Attorneys, by Outlet Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Arizona rookie Walter Nolan expected to miss time after picking up a calf injury while preparing for training camp. That, according to head coach Jonathan Gannon. And the Texans, they have placed running back Joe Mixon on the non-football injury list. While in baseball, Mets take down the Angels earlier this afternoon, 6-3, and then 2 games starting just after 7 o'clock. The Jays host the Yankees, while the Bisons are on the road versus Columbus. The Bisons game you can listen to on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
We were just talking some. Oh, I almost said it.
Oh,
we were
no.
just talking some baseball.
That's fine. Talking some baseball is fine.
I know.
Yeah.
I almost said the other thing.
You said the other thing that would have set me off.
And I told you at the time when you pointed out to me how much you disliked the phrase that going forward, if I ever did it, it would be on purpose to offend you, to upset you.
Right.
Like, it's not that hard to just say something else.
Right.
So I almost said it. I didn't, though.
Yeah.
Baseball. I put the base in there.
Right. Verlander got his first win of the year today. And I noticed during the Yankee game last night, or as you like to say, the Blue Jays game.
Yes.
Scherzer was pitching, and he's behind. He's maybe second on the list of active pitchers wins.
Okay.
Verlander's the closest to 300 with like 260 or something, and Scherzer might have 217. I think maybe is the number I had in my head from last night. And it came up on the broadcast how we probably don't have, like, we're done. Like, nobody's going to get there. The best shot you've got is Verlander, and he doesn't even have a win yet this year, is what Michael Kay said on the telecast I was watching.
And he's 38 away, he's 42 years old.
Right, but that change. You got to win today, so all right.
Would that already be counted on Baseball Reference? I feel like it'd be tomorrow. It'd be up there. Like,
yeah.
Just the day's stats.
Right.
Push them all through. Yeah.
Anyway.
Jacob deGrom has been around a long time.
Yes.
He's been hurt. He's 37 years old. He's been good this year. He has 97 career wins. 94.
Right.
Career wins.
Just a different gig now.
I can't watch the Jays tonight.
I did not see the Yankee game listed on my Fubo app. I checked on there, and it was not among the games listed tonight. So maybe that's because it's not on Yes. It's on like some other local whatever arrangements the Yankees have. I looked at Prime. They don't have it there either. Apple isn't tonight. That's usually Friday nights, you said?
Yep. ESPN has a game tonight.
Oh,
Red Sox Phillies.
Right. I was going to say that would have shown up on the Fubo app if that were the game. So I don't know where the Yankee game. I don't know if they still do WPIX or whatever. So it's probably on one of the channels here locally that we don't get on our Fubo app.
Right.
So yeah, no Jays game tonight for you.
Have to be Red Sox Phillies. I'm in a little bit of a rut. I've been watching. I'm liking the Jays. I've been watching more baseball than usual this year, but I felt like maybe tonight I would mix it up.
Yeah? What does that mean?
I don't know. I never watch
cooking shows.
I watch a lot of cooking shows. That's usually the other choice. But I have not watched a movie in a long time. There's something to be said for watching a movie.
Yep.
Just like I'm going to sit down and watch this whole thing.
Do you know they came? What was the Flower Moon? Whatever the big Isbell had a role in it. DiCaprio, the Native Americans, Oklahoma, Children of the Killers of the Flower Moon, or what was the name of the movie? It's a huge movie. It came out the same day as Oppenheimer.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Flower like flowers?
Yes.
Not the baking.
The trailers looked great. Everything I read about it looked great. I said to my wife at some point, like, we should go see this in the theater. We didn't. This is, what are we talking? It's 3 years ago now? 2 years ago. It's 2 years ago. I still haven't watched it. Like, we definitely, everything about it appealed to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have never found the time to watch it. It's long.
Is Andre the Giant in it?
I don't believe so.
That would help
me. So, movies, I mean, this is a tough time of the year for me for that. Like, that's me.
Summer blockbusters.
To hell with that. I'm not going to the theater. When I go see Superman.
Yes, go see Superman.
That's me on the bike in the basement in November. That's movie time.
I'm saying right now, you just went to a movie the other day, by the way. You told me.
I did. I went to a premiere of a movie about pro beach roller hockey. Yes, that's right.
Was DiCaprio in that?
Summer blockbuster.
I am saying go to the theater.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing to do.
It was
literally because it's 90 out and it's going to be nice and cool in there.
It was really nice being in the North Park Theater.
It is.
It really was.
It is a good thing to do. You're not on your phone then. You're not always getting up. Well, I mean, the dog needs you. Sergeant Peepers is peeping. She must need some seeds.
There's better popcorn than you can make at home.
Better popcorn.
Especially at North Park. Their popcorn is, I mean, they brag about their popcorn over there.
I mean, if I had a movie theater, I'd better have a popcorn I could brag about.
Yeah.
Or else I'm not trying hard enough.
And that's I don't know how many people have. I was with a friend of mine who I couldn't believe had never been in there before, Monday night. He said to me as the movie was starting, like, I've never been in here before. I'm like, oh, my God. I saw In Excess in here back in like 1984 or something.
Wow.
Like, I mean,
that's good.
And that, I mean, it's been redone. I mean, it's just a beautiful. I mean, it is a theater.
Love it.
Really nice. Anyway,
the last time I was there was for the anniversary of The Natural, where Ben Mankiewicz came up and Barry Levinson, and they did a Q&A for the crowd, and they showed some or all of the movie. I forget, but that was a fun night.
Yeah, I'll bet.
That's the last time I was there.
Well, I was there Monday.
But what's going to happen to me tonight, this is pathetic. Like, say I'm alone in the house tonight, which is possible. I can't find the Blue Jays. I can't watch the Red Sox and the Phillies. I hate all of them. I can't watch the Red Sox play the Phillies. There's two awful teams. So there goes baseball. And then next I go to YouTube usually.
There is maybe another game or two on Fubo tonight that you could choose. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm kind of in the mood for something different.
Right.
So usually then I'll go to either Top Chef Vault, but that's sort of background, or I'll go to YouTube and either watch a draft or a podcast like mine, ADP Chasing, one of those kind of shows. And, you know, maybe I'm watching people draft. Say what you want about that. Thrill ride. Or old Lettermans or old games. And then I'm done. Like, as much fun as I find those, once I'm there, now I'm in like 1983, it's over. Like, I'm not then going to find a movie or anything else. I'm not getting out.
There's no way out.
No, there's no way out. I'm not getting up. I'm not getting out. I'm passing out, watching. I'll wake up. It'll be something different because it'll have been on the whole time. And that's what I want to avoid tonight. I'll take suggestions. That's what I want to avoid tonight.
You're watching Chris Elliott on Letterman.
I love to watch Chris Elliott. If I went to YouTube right now, I'm gonna go to YouTube right now on my computer, and Chris Elliott is going to be one of the first things that comes up, either as Marlon Brando or Marv Albert or the guy under the stairs.
The guy under the stairs.
Remember
the guy under the?
You're a fan.
Guy under the stands, maybe, or stairs, whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
In the guy in the bleachers.
He was under the That's right.
Under the stairs.
Stands, yeah, but whatever.
Something.
Yeah.
Remember, this was brilliant. I watched this very recently, and I'm sure I did not get out. Nightlight with Chris Elliott was his own show, basically spoofing Letterman on the Letterman show.
Okay, I don't remember.
So he had his own little set and would start to talk, and like, oh, we only got 3 minutes. The whole show's like 3 minutes. Letterman's over here with Terry Garr, and he sort of looks over there, and they have a little bit of on the satellite. I can't do it justice, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, he had Linda Carter on one time. It's just so good.
He was great. Chris Elliott is great.
It doesn't. It's going to be right here.
Yeah. I feel like you are making your bed here. Is what you're doing. You're going to end up
what?
there now.
How about take a walk? What is the most interesting training camp battle in the league? I can only think of one.
Is it
that
not
I'm into?
The Browns quarterback situation?
I'm thinking of Indianapolis.
Okay.
Indianapolis today, first practice, very hospitality tent vibes. Here's Anthony Richardson, pick. Here's Daniel Jones, pick. Oh, the ball was thrown into the ground. Oh, the ball sailed over the goalposts. It doesn't sound good.
No.
But I think it's interesting.
Yes, it is.
I think if we were a Colts show, we would be making fun of it.
You've got you've got a guy from a big market who washed out that I think mostly no one thinks is any good in Daniel Jones, and Colts fans probably hate the idea. To some extent, I don't know, whatever. There's probably some face painters out there that are like, he'll be good. But like mostly it's like, oh my God. And then Richardson probably still has fans because he hasn't played that much, right? But you're offended by his lack of common football sensibility, tapping out of a game mid-drive because he was tired. Wow. And it's not like he's been great, regardless of that misstep there. That's a battle, but it's almost futile. Like you're saying, like it's pick, ground. Oh my gosh, do we have somebody that can play?
The thing for me, I think you'd agree with this, but I'm not positive. It's so obvious to me what I think they should do.
Play Richardson until his wheels fall off.
Play Richardson and just don't look back. Now, I'm not the coach, and much like the Giants, maybe I have to think about myself. But if I'm not the coach, I really don't care. Would I have to have Shane Steichen to win big in the NFL? I have to have that guy? I don't care about him. What I care about is I've got a 4th overall pick 2 years ago that's barely played football ever. Like, why am I doing that if I'm not prepared for it to take a while? Like, how do I do both of these things? Draft him and then not play him over Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew and Daniel. How do I do that? How can you justify that?
You
can't justify it.
The only justification for it is the entire team thinks the kid's a joke.
If that's true.
If that's true. If the entire team thinks he's a joke, then you can't do it. You probably still should try because Daniel Jones is not doing anything for you. And Richardson, there's a lot of talent in there. And you should try to extract it and hope maybe you can teach him how to do stuff the right way. But I thought the minute that happened, I thought that's such an obvious thing that you should know about playing football. How many things that are not as obvious does this kid not know? That leave teammates going like, what did he just say? Wait, what? Yeah, he just might be unplayable.
Well,
it's sad, but it might be.
There's a form of teaching there, too. It's not teaching accuracy or reading defenses, but it's still maturity. It's still he's still your investment. No matter what the thing is. As a coach, as a parent, you just can't give up because there's one trait that's harder to fix than I don't think there's any excuse for him to not play. And he's healthy apparently, but first practice sounded kind of rough.
Yeah, not off to a great start there.
I mean, how do you possibly have a franchise that turns to Daniel Jones at this point?
Yeah,
what's more embarrassing? Turning to Flacco is less embarrassing. He's old. He's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He arguably, I think it might have been Sam Monson I heard say this. For the last 3 years, he's been the best quarterback on his team. Indianapolis, Cleveland prior to that, whoever prior to that. I think it was Sam who might have made that point. I think it's possible that Joe Flacco has been the best quarterback on his team for like 3 years. That's less embarrassing than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, what's the ceiling? What's the best you're going to do here? The best you're going to do is that Giants season, which was a trap. It ends up setting the Giants back years because they signed him out of that. They won a playoff game. They signed playoff road wins. Daniel Jones won. Bills all-time 4. It was a trap. They signed him out of that, and what are they now? They cut him almost immediately after because he was bad.
Yeah.
Bills road playoff wins ever. At San Diego in the 65 AFL championship. At Shea Stadium and the Jets, 81 wild card. At Three River Stadium, 92 Frank Reich. At Miami the week after.
Right.
In history.
Yeah, that's it.
Mahomes has 2 only. Not counting Super Bowls. He has 3 of those.
Right.
Those are not home games. Yankees, Blue Jays, many are saying is on Prime.
When we were talking about this off the air, I went in my Prime app and looked, and they had a different game listed in my app. So I don't know. I trust these people are correct. I just don't know why I didn't see it.
Is it Game 3 of the 1986 World Series that they've switched to? Or is it a current game? Is it a live game that is taking on that role? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe then I won't end up watching Tootsie for the 17th
Maybe not.
time.
I don't know. I'm in there right now, and I still don't.
Okay.
Still don't.
Many are saying it's on Prime.
Yep.
We'll see.
I want to believe that.
I've escaped from the clutches of Tootsie. Although these games don't last forever.
No, they're quick, usually. Last night's was a little longer than most. Usually, if I want to go to bed at 9:30, I got no problem watching a whole baseball game.
These days.
It's done. Yep.
I still might end up getting to Tootsie. Bulldog, you know that's always possible with me.
Yes, certainly.
Does Jeff know? Oh, what a movie. Yes, Browns is good. I'm sure there are others, but Colts quarterback for me is the most interesting one of these in the NFL. Okay, I was going to make a point about Ross Tucker. Can it wait? I thought Ross Tucker is so good. He is a contrarian, though. I don't mean that like as a butt.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the contrarian takes.
Sure.
I loved him on Genty. Remember that on Ashton Genty? We were talking about Genty before the draft, like everybody's favorite running back prospect almost ever. And he pointed out how he has this insane yards per carry after contact. And he's like, but can he make someone miss, please? And I took that to my guys at ADP Chasing, and they all just like freaked out. Like, what is he talking about? He's the most elusive. Like, mostly kidding, I think. But he had something else that I'll bring up another time. Instead, next, Brandon Bean's comments from earlier on the occasion of the beginning of training camp. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Stay tuned. This is WGR.